Thank you. You're always very generous in your description. Welcome everyone. So the topic for today is application of artificial intelligence. Now, we have been using artificial intelligence in one manner or another for a couple of months, if not a year or two. And we have been using AI in very elementary fashion, meaning we go to ChatGPT or one of these applications, ask questions, get answers, and summarizations, etc. And that is where primarily we stop because we really do not know how far can we go with AI, what is allowed, what is not allowed. So fortunately, the Honorable Supreme Court has come out with draft regulations on the use of AI. And they have done so primarily for the reasons of court management, court cases, etc. But they have asked for suggestions. And I believe that we should all put our heads together and help identify certain regulations within the purview of what is being suggested by the Supreme Court, and maybe have IBBI come out with specific regulations for insolvency professionals. So what we will do is, when we will go through the regulations that the Supreme Court has drafted. And while going through the regulations, we will come across just about everything else relating to AI that is relevant to us. And we can have a discussion while we go through the entire list. In the end, we should be able to have a very clear view of what AI is, what the Honorable Supreme Court is expecting from its usage, how can we use the do's and don'ts. And not only do we end up suggesting the changes to the regulations to the Honorable Supreme Court, but also to IBBI, IPAs, for them to come out with any specific set of regulations if required, over and above the generic ones that would be, that would be finally drafted by the Supreme Court. So let me share my screen. Share this window. Okay. So if I were to share this window. Okay, can everybody see my screen? If somebody could.
Yeah, you can see that.
Okay, great. So these are the regulations that have been drafted. We have until the 20th of this month to give us suggestions to the Supreme Court, and then we will hopefully have a set of proper regulations maybe by next month or two. So if we were to go through it, I'll run through the ones, we will run through all the regulations, but we will stop at the important ones so that we can have a proper discussion. And then we will also be able to see how AI is being presently used. Some people are using it very intensely. Some people are using it superficially. And then maybe we will see a demo or two. So if we start with title. Okay, hold on. Let me make this a little smaller. Layout. Yeah. So these regulations are for AI in the courts. They will come enforce as and when the Honorable CGI will notify. And every High Court and all other courts, including tribunals and statutory commissions falling within the jurisdiction of such High Court, will also come up with their set of regulations if they need to tweak it. And those regulations will become active the day the Honorable Chief Justice of that High Court will notify. So there are two set of one regulations will be given by the Supreme Court, and they will allow the other high courts to come up with their own set of regulations tweaked here and there, and they can determine the dates on which those regulations will come into force. So tribunals means NCLT, NCLAT, everybody, and which means that it's only a matter of time before not only is it a matter of time, I guess it is going to happen. It is almost going to be mandated that a set of AI regulations for insolvency professionals and service providers under IBC also come into play. The applications of AI as of now, they are limiting to judicial, adjudicatory, and administrative functions of the Supreme Court, High Court, and other courts, including tribunals. Now, these regulations seems as if it's for the court officers, and the advocates, which is quite true, because just like we are professionals under IBC, there are other professionals under so many other subcodes, and naturally the AI regulations can't possibly cover all aspects. So we intend to give our suggestions relating to the use of AI in IBC. Specifically how insolvency professionals can use it, and in order to speed up, to hasten the resolutions, etc. So definitions are plenty. We will quickly go through the important ones. The judicatory functions we will leave. Administrative functions, they have presently referred to case filing, cause list preparation, listing of matters, issuance of notice, summons, maintenance of records, scrutiny of defects, fee computation. So effectively what you see is that even in the administrative function, the Honorable Supreme Court is expecting AI to be used in all these cases, which gives us an idea as to how deep that the AI is going to impact, and it's not going to be superficial. So just like the administrative functions for all these things, I'm quite sure IBBI will come up with their own administrative functions. And the moment AI is used for administrative functions, or wherever AI is used, we expect efficiency to go up and deep, which can only be countered by us professionals also using AI in order to come up to the level of expectation of our regulators.
Sir, one question.
Go ahead, sir.
This is included here. So what is excluded?
Yeah. It's all coming. It's all coming. This is just the third regulation. We have to go all the way to 56. So all those things are very specifically mentioned. Another couple of minutes and we will reach. So AI audit has to be done. So there has to be some kind of agency which will do the audit. Then there has to be a committee which will be creating such auditors. Then there will be incidents that may take place because of use of AI, and who is going to be responsible, to what extent. So an event means an operational failure, erroneous output, malfunction, directly, indirectly, resulting in substantial risk to harm or to a person, infringement of right, disruption code process, etc. I mean, so they are also trying to specify what these events could possibly be. We also need to come up with our set of events where if we get a third party to generate 29A for us, and that 29A, which is AI generated, presumably, could be wrong and could cause a substantial risk. How do we go about it? We literally will have to enumerate all points at which events or incidents can take place under IBC. So there is a register that the court will have to maintain. The register will be the register of all the audited, approved AI software. There's going to be a secretariat, which will, so the secretariat, there are committees, there are auditors, etc. Then there are service providers. So service providers are the ones who will design, develop, train, fine-tune, integrate, etc. into the court processes. So we would like to read code processes as insolvency processes. And we would like the set of regulations to be very clear for us to be able to use. And I will also explain why is it going to become inevitable, because what we have seen that it is humanly not possible to do what AI can. And law expects us to go that deep. And presently, the system is functioning because we all understand human limitation. But as I will explain subsequently, that is all going to change. So the AI system tools, which are software, etc., algorithmic decision-making, anonymization. So they are just explaining definition of what all these words mean. Apex body and the AI committee. So there's going to be an apex body at the Supreme Court and AI committees at various high courts and tribunals. And probably the apex body will accumulate all the AI regulations, recommendations coming from various tribunals, etc., so that there is one central body which will have a complete overview of how AI is being used at the grassroots level. So AI, what is AI? What does it mean? What is a black box? So essentially, when you ask an LLM a question and it answers, if we were to open the brain of the LLM and try and see how it managed to give us that answer, we see nothing there. Meaning, whatever we see, we can't figure out how it's answering. So that's what we call as a black box. There are sort of technical things related to computer science that we'll not go into. But we made transformers and we made those layers and we made layers of transformers talking to each other. And magically, there are these answers being generated. And even no one really knows how it manages to connect the dots. At a simplistic level, we say that it is predicting the next word. But how does it manage to predict these next word and make it into a coherent sentence, which is which we are in awe of as to how it managed to do it, but we still don't know. So there is something called as a black box. Environmental controlled environment testing, which essentially means that whatever application which will be allowed has to be audited, but before that it'll be run in a sandbox environment to ensure and identify how it's really working and ensure that it's working correctly. So definition of code data, definition of code processes, which for our case would be insolvency processes, and we'll have to enumerate all of them here because these are presently limited to hearing management, evidence handling, legal research, drafting, translation, transcription, record management. Very, very focused on legal processes. Cybersecurity. So there is Information Technology Act, which comes into play, and DPDP Act that comes into play in a big way. And naturally, they must be conformed before we actually end up using AI in an agentic manner. So, so the two ways that we are using AI, one is generative. We ask a question, it generates an answer. We give an image, it gives an image back, or we give a text, it gives an image. So it's generating these things, and it stops when you stop asking. These cybersecurity, data protection, etc., comes into play when you actually ask AI to go do a task, which means go do half of that task. The other half will still be done by us. But the first half, generating, say, 29A report, for example, it will make a report with all the red flags. And it will tell you why it has flagged it red. But you will have to manually, as we will see here also, it is mandated that we, as humans in the loop, will have to physically verify and not use another AI to verify the output of the first AI. So you can't really be using AI to verify AI. In any case, it's not recommended because you have to sign off the process anyway. So if one AI goes wrong and the other AI verifies and says, yes, it's right, and you go ahead and say it's right, then naturally we'll be responsible. Data minimization, only the required data is to be used. Don't collect more data which is any more than required. Designated officers would be there who will be responsible for AI system, tools, code process, verification, supervision, etc. So literally there's going to be a department which, according to this, seems that there's going to be a full-fledged department, a committee, an audit, a designated officer. So a whole lot of hierarchy will be coming up. Ethical impact assessment, explainability, what can we explain, what we cannot, and in case we cannot explain, do we accept the risk of using an unexplainable system? To what extent? So external systems are all those computers, etc. Generative AI. So even in the definition itself, they've started suggesting that no such generative AI content shall be filed or produced before the court without mandatory disclosure of its origin and verification through a designated centralized mechanism. Now, this effectively means that we don't use AI without mandatory disclosure. So we literally will have to say, I asked this question from ChatGPT and this is the disclosure. But that's not enough. You have to go through verification through a designated centralized mechanism, which may be decided by the appropriate authority. So we really do not know what this means. Supposing I draft an application using AI, and I say that I have used AI to draft this application. I have done so because I can't do any better. And otherwise, I have read and I have signed it off. I know this is absolutely good to go. So disclosure I have made, content I have generated, and verification through designated. So is there a central mechanism through which it will go again and say the case laws that you've mentioned, do they really exist or not? Or who does that verification?
Hello?
If I'm signing, yeah, go ahead.
Sir, my question is that the AI,
Yes.
India have, or India don't, I think don't so India have their own AI. So how this Supreme Court will use their AI? Because everybody ChatGPT, DeepSeek, or Cloud, other AI is using. But where is Indian AI is concerned, it is not. So the Supreme Court will use other countries' AI, or they will develop themselves.
nahi, the AI, so when we say AI, it's a little more complicated than what we understand of it. So there is LLM, as you said, ChatGPT, Claude, which is the black box. India has its own. We have made our own, and we are making new ones. These LLMs, small, large, tiny LLMs, whatever, they are being made, and we will very soon have Indian AIs specifically for law, specifically for medical or education, whatever. Right now, what you're referring to are generic AI LLMs. So they are supposed to have been trained on all the data of all the internet, and they almost know everything, leading to AGI, general intelligence. But we are also going to have our own AI, which is Indian AI, and maybe we will run through that. Central mechanism is referring to, could refer to those LLMs, which we know have already been trained on Indian law specifically and will not hallucinate and will come up. But then again, there's another problem. We are asking the output of one AI to be verified by another AI, whether it be Indian or Chinese, American. So AI.
My question is that you said that if you are generating any draft from any AI and submitting to the court, so you have to be disclosed what is the source, and you generate from AI. You are saying that, no?
Yes.
Yes. My question is that if there is a draft is there, and I am giving some some data in AI, putting data in, I want this type of draft you have to prepare for me. Instruction, I give the instruction, okay? And he is doing my job, okay? And I am generating that some text or draft from there and putting there in my application, okay? So what is the problem of the Supreme Court? That is submitted by me. I am acknowledging that is from me. Why they are?
Yeah. You have a point. So effectively what you're saying is कि मैंने कुछ generate किया, मैंने उसको पढ़ा, मेरे को ठीक लगा, मैंने दस्तखत किए. अब अगर मेरी जिम्मेवारी है, तो आप एक और नया वेरिफिकेशन प्रोसेस थ्रू सेंट्रलाइज्ड मैकेनिज्म के थ्रू एक और AI वगैरह वाला, मतलब it should stop at when I submit under my signatures with my responsibility. How I've done it is my problem.
Yes.
And I could use an Indian LLM or an American LLM, etc. That's up to me. So what you're saying is right, and that is also what regulation also says. Regulation says कि अगर आपका human in the loop है और आपकी जिम्मेवारी हो गई है, so probably so we need a little more clarification of what this designated central mechanism mean. Is it only referring to? So there are a couple of things here. यहाँ पे the confusion here is that the court is saying that for the court processes, there are certain applications which will be AI enabled, and those applications which will be used in the court by the court will have to be audited and verified through a central mechanism. That's point number one. Then comes the third party, like lawyers or professionals, who says that I have generated my content using AI or not using AI, as long as I have signed it off. And in any case, since I'm responsible, there is no need to go through any other verification mechanism. So yes, this could really mean two things. And I believe we also need some clarity. But I think the clarity is also coming because it's very clear that the professionals will be responsible. The human is inevitable, mandatory, and responsible. So anyway, let's go ahead. There'll be plenty of such ambiguities we will find. But okay, so hallucination, what it really means. fabricated, misleading, unsupported data. Somebody's cooked it up, and what it means. Naturally, everybody will have to ensure that there's no hallucination, or we use systems which don't hallucinate. How do we go about finding those systems and ensuring they don't? Harm is harm, human in the loop. So this is critical. They say it means a governance process in which the output, recommendations, or results generated by AI system or tools are subject to mandatory human review, supervision, and verification, with final decision-making authority, responsibility, and accountability resting at all time with a human. So it's very clearly saying कि भाई जिम्मेवारी आपकी है, आप जो मर्जी करो, हमें नहीं पता. It's like a calculator, whether you use it to calculate or whatever, typewriter or whatever, but responsibility is yours, which is okay, because it is in any case it is common sense. But here we are specifically saying so. Correct. Institutional head of tribunal, large language model is the black box we were talking about. And it's used for translation, summarization, legal research, text generation is what we presently use all these systems for. Then there is what is machine learning. Broadly, machine learning means that you don't tell a machine what to do. It figures out on its own what needs to be done. Given a few sample cases, enough data, it will identify patterns and will start figuring out what is being done, and it will start doing it. The machine learns on its own. Private entity risk scoring. So essentially, risk scoring is we give a score. So if we were to compare plans, and if we were to score the plans based on certain criteria, and we'll say this plan is better than that, or how risky that score is. I mean, the score is based on risk. And yes.
Sir, when we are putting some our data, which is confidential in AI, and generating or asking any descriptive thing or any analyzing from the data, so the data is secure, or we should not use that one in AI, because AI, all this from from other country and not our country, and we don't have any
control over it.
Control over there.
So the reason we are given all these, this is nothing free in this world, especially intelligence. AI is very expensive. We keep hearing the chips are very expensive. The amount of energy required is expensive. With so much expense, how do we still get all these things for free? And they are giving it to you for free because they want your data in return. So be rest assured, the moment you ask anything, upload any PDF, it is being used for training purposes. And if you read the terms and conditions of the use of ChatGPT or any of these, it says very clearly that पैसे दोगे $200 महीने का कुछ, तो हम हो सकता है आपसे डेटा ना यूज करें. Otherwise, you have given us full authority to train our models, to help us train our models using your data. So if the moment your data is already being used by AI for its training, if I were a smart person and if I know how to prompt correctly, ask the right question, I just might get that answer from the data that you have uploaded, which means it's not confidential anymore. It's only that we don't get to know because we don't ask those questions. We don't know how to ask those questions. We don't know what to ask. But if asked correctly, the AI is bound to give you the answer because it's a part of its memory now.
So, but isn't this in conflict with certain provisions of DPDP and IT Acts?
Yeah,
from a privacy standpoint. From a privacy standpoint.
100%. 100%. We are all sitting ducks and sitting on, nobody's asking these questions. But if somebody goes deep, then we are already violating all these laws left, right, and center. So then there is sensitive judicial data, which is sensitive judicial data. Then there is synthetic data. And of course, there's DPDP and information technology. And that is why we will have to find systems by which we use all these LLMs internally, or whichever vendor we use, that vendor has to have that kind of bandwidth to be able to generate these things internally. Yeah, somebody will have to look into all these. We will have to look into all these. So there are certain recommendations that I and my team, we have looked into. For example, we are suggesting that pre-adjudicatory assistive tools must be added to the definition, which would mean use of AI by court-appointed fiduciaries, insolvency professional practitioners to aggregate, analyze, verify statutory compliance prior to formal submission for final judicial adjudication or resolution. Meaning that we also now have to figure out, because this regulation is very specific to court processes. They don't even consider the other surrounding fiduciaries, but we have to get them to add and ring fence us in order to be able to use them. Otherwise, we will not be able to use them, which also means that we will get into trouble if we don't use them. I'll come to that how. When I say okay, let me answer this right away. By saying that we will get into trouble, meaning that, the efficiency definitely goes down. Not everybody has that level of English. Not everybody can explain at that level. No matter how good I'm able to explain, somehow when I put these things in GPT, LLM, it gives me a much better explanation, much clearer. So how it manages, I end up saving time and energy trying to reach that level of explainability in my drafting. Then there is human in the loop. Now, human in the loop also needs to be clarified. We need to have a subclause ZBA instead of ZB. What is ZB? ZB. Okay, ZB is human in the loop, which simply says everything has to go through a human in the loop. Everything has to be verified and all accountability rests. So it's like a blanket human, responsibility, which will not run, because then you're just adding more work to you. The AI will generate 10 times more output, which will be all legal and needs to be verified. So your job will go up 10 times. I'll also explain that it's not as easy as it looks, but what we are trying to say, the human in the loop would mean governance and operational framework designed for low risk. So if there is a low risk analytical administrative task wherein human monitor, continuously overseeing, evaluate, and retaining supervisory control may happen, but it may not be, actively or manually required to verify each and every automated output. The ones which are critical should go through a human in the loop mandatorily. Otherwise, for low risk analytical administrative kind of things, you don't need. Otherwise, we as human race will get ourselves into trouble, because if we have to verify everything AI does, then AI will do 100 times more output. And so we have to segregate human in the loop for low risk and high risk. And also there is a regulation 12, which I will jump straight to, which talks about proportionality, which says that AI code process shall be proportionate in nature, complexity, application involving high risk to personal liberty, lawful right of process, integrity, shall be subject to correspondingly heightened safeguards, including human in the loop. So it says high risk, which means there is something called as a low risk, which it's not talking about. So high risk would have a mandatory HIL requirement and oversight, and low risk may not have. You can do sampling, or even if it gets passed through, it's not the end of the world sort of a scenario. So proportionality is something, and we see that other countries are having high risk and low risk, both options. Yeah. So anyway, so we will come
Sir,
back
actually,
to
yeah, there was a small pause there. We couldn't hear you for about 10-15 seconds.
Was it? Okay. Hold on. How am I logged in? Let me see. Okay, MTP link. I was talking about regulation 12. You couldn't hear me, but you could see what I was doing, right? I was probably talking about regulation 12.
No, we couldn't neither hear nor see actually.
अब दिख रहा है?
हाँ, सुनाई भी दे रहा है.
तो पहले बीच में क्या हो गया? Okay, whatever.
We are getting from good from beginning.
Sorry?
I am getting right from beginning. I'm listening and seeing, no problem.
अच्छा, बीच में हो गया होगा सर, वो कभी ना कभी
नहीं,
किसी
अभी
ना किसी
10-15 सेकंड के लिए हुआ था कि कुछ सुनाई भी नहीं दिया और कुछ दिखाई भी नहीं दिया.
But it is your, it might be your problem.
हाँ,
Internet
आपके लेवल पे. चलो, doesn't matter. Let's go ahead. Proportionality में मैं broadly दोबारा से बताता हूँ. Basically, आपको human in the loop अगर रखना है, तो आप उसको proportionality में रखिएगा. High risk जो होगा, उसमें mandatory होगा. जो low risk होगा, उसमें recommendatory होगा. और because हम AI को काम भी नहीं करने देंगे अगर हम इतना if we become so tight about things, we will not be able to use AI at all. So we need to have the right balance of laxity between human involvement and machine involvement. So risk scoring. अच्छा, इसके अंदर एक और है, risk scoring की हम बात कर रहे थे. उसमें लिखा है, आगे जाके आएगा वैसे, that risks, you are not supposed to score. You're not supposed to score at all. Now that is not possible because we have to score. We use KPIs for corporate management. That's scoring. If we don't score, we will not be able to compare plans. How will we score? So we need ratios. We require ratios are scores. So what we have to say is that scoring would have to mean a numerical or categorical score to a natural person that purports to eliminate or profile the probability of the individual engaged in specified behavior, including commission of it. So if it is relating to identifying or predicting the commission of an offense by a person, or failure to appear, or what is the probability or that he will run away and not appear before the court, those kind of scoring mechanism or predictive scoring needs to be curtailed. But so far as it's mathematical calculation, financial performance, indexing, balance sheet, quantitative, corporate, that should be allowed. As of now, the scoring has been, it's a blanket thing that we will not score anything. So anyway, these are the recommendations that we are thinking about for so far as definition is concerned. Going forward, human primacy and judicial independence. So AI will remain subservient to human judgment and judicial authority. Fair enough. There will never be an AI judge. Although such AI judges and AI doctors are already there in China and they seem to be doing very well. But as of now, we are saying that will not happen in India ever. Every AI system shall function solely as an assistive capacity and shall not supplant or compromise independent excise or judicial. Same thing. So they're saying judicial officers, etc. No, AI will, even if it's capable of replacement, we will not allow that to happen. Ultimate authority of matter lies with the officer of the competent jurisdiction. Fair enough. Now, AI shall not be deployed for dispute outcome prediction. Why is this here? So this is it. This should not be here. It is again talking about scoring. A strict interpretation of dispute outcome prediction might accidentally ban an agent that scores financial feasibility. So it's trying to say the same thing. But anyway, broadly, human primacy is going to be paramount. Rule of law.
So, sir,
Yeah.
does this mean that the AI cannot be used to compare two resolution plans? Is that what you're saying?
No, we can compare two plans using AI. What this is not clarifying, this regulation is not clarifying, is whether we can use a scoring mechanism to do that. So I can ask AI to say ये 10 प्लान हैं, इसकी स्कोरिंग करो. तो कहता है इसके 4, इसके 8, इसके 7, इसके 6. He says वो नहीं करो, आप प्लान को वैसे कंपेयर कर सकते हो. वो टेबल बना के देगा, उसमें बताएगा इसने इतने पैसे दिए, इसने दिए, इसका इतना समय है वगैरह है. But you will use your own interpretation of that flagging to determine which plan is better. So it's not that it is what we are suggesting is कि अगर आप plan का score is a financial thing. It's not a judicial decision. It is still coming in as a source of help. It is not deciding that this plan is better and AI has said so, and that's the end of the world. So what we are trying to say here is कि scoring allow करो, क्योंकि हमको फाइनेंशियल के अंदर हमको KPIs चाहिए होते हैं. इस तरह के स्कोरिंग्स जो हों वो अलाउ होने चाहिए. सो यू कैन यूज
क्राइटेरिया आपके होंगे, स्कोरिंग AI करेगा, लेकिन डिसीजन हमारा होगा.
Correct.
That's the framework, right?
That's the framework. That's what it should be. But right now the meaning of the words used is coming as if somebody were to take a very strict interpretation of what these words mean, they will not allow even the ratios to be used. वो कहेगा ये तो स्कोर है जी, हम तो नहीं मानते, ये आपने 1.2 क्यों है, ये 4.8 क्यों है, ऐसे करके. So you never know how much one knows. The words have to be very clear. So rule of law. So what this is saying is that there's going to be a rule of law, and all judges will have to follow rule of law under Bangalore principle of judicial conduct. So there is some Bangalore principle which talks about independence, impartiality, integrity, propriety, equality, competence, and we can see that from this PDF. There is can we have who somebody has left his or her, who has a mic open? I think do I unmute? Okay. Going back. Okay, rule of law, fairness and non-discrimination is simple. That AI will be fair and non-discriminatory, transparent and explainable. The AI system has to meet high standards of transparency, explainability, fine. So how is it running, and explain how is it running. What are the data inputs? What are the logic somewhat being used, and deployment of a system that are opaque and incapable of explanation shall be subject to heightened scrutiny. Fair enough. So what we are trying to say here is we are asking to redraft this to say that the functioning data input decision logic shall be deemed to satisfy the standards of transparency and explainability. The system is capable of generating a clear, verifiable audit trail consisting. So what we are saying here is that we will assume that it is transparent and explainable if it generates a clear, verifiable audit trail consisting of primary source mapping, hyperlinking, fact tracing, etc., etc. I mean, this output, this kind of report, which contains all these audit trails, verifies the system, because we don't need to go into how the system is running, as so far as the report it is generating has a clear hyperlinking of facts, etc. So we are focused on the output verification. We don't really have to get into the system and say code दिखाओ इसका, ये आपने कौन सी लैंग्वेज में लिखा है, पाइथन में लिखा है कि सी में लिखा है, इसमें क्यों किया हुआ, ऐसे क्यों नहीं किया, ये क्यों. There can be 100 questions that can be asked which are irrelevant questions, because we just need to see what the outcome is. So just as in our insolvency, we want to see whether resolution took place or not, and whether we were able to liquidate properly or not, and that was the end of it. There are so many things that can happen behind the scenes. We can't really humanly go inside it. Neither should we. So what you're trying to say is, because this is again very, very strict, as in saying कि अगर वो opaque हुआ, तो हम आपको we'll start getting into the system. Point being that if we go so far, we will not allow any AI to be implemented. And yeah, any strict interpretation of this line could mean that. Accountability is fine. Accountability for all decisions made by an officer with the assistance of AI shall rest exclusive upon such officer, shall not be permissible to invoke. So what will happen is that the AI committee of a particular court or tribunal, or maybe an officer who has been deputed to do all these audits, for the fear of making a wrong decision, allowing wrong things, will keep rejecting all these AI systems if we go so far. Some kind of balance has to be created, especially for the stakeholders, for the fiduciary, for the professionals. They are responsible anyway. For court processes, yes, you can go very deep and you can ensure everything is running, because the courts will be using those processes within its workflow. So accountability, where an AI generated output or information is used in the court, shall be treated as advisory in nature and reasonable care shall be taken. So this is standard things, all talking about accountability. Auditability and continuous oversight, fair enough. The systems will have to be audited at a reasonable time period, or if any changes are made. Data protection and privacy should be simple, that it will have to follow the DPDP Act, for which we'll have to understand what DPDP Act is, because even that itself is very stringent. And so there are two types of data. One is a public data, one is confidential private data. Whatever is available on the internet is considered public data. I can go to the internet, and if I search and if I get something, it is not a private data as to why did I go looking for that question on the internet. It shouldn't have been there on the internet anyway. All the data sets like MCA or SEBI or RBI, CIBIL, all these data is also public data, and one can go searching for it because it is meant to be public. Now, AI agents can be used to access this public data to make certain reports. Now, that's point number one. So, for example, if we have a case, a CD, then for us to get to identify investors online, somehow magically, we go online and we say, okay, give us top 100 potential investors, resolution applicants for this company. And so that's public data. So from that angle, we have what we call as a marketing agent, or investor outreach agent. You can call it whatever. We're essentially just doing the same thing. It takes a SIN number, it goes out, it identifies 1,000, 2,000 potential investors. It reaches out to them, meaning writes to them customized email, and generates interest in this particular corporate data. So it's using public data, and it should not be subject to data protection or privacy kind of issues. One can say it's mass mailing and this and that, but we will tackle that separately. So there's a marketing agent. Then based on the SIN number, we can have a 29A verification agent, which will go out and somehow magically get MCA, SEBI, RBI, NCLT, court cases, and make a 29A report, not only on that one entity, but also on all the related entities. Meaning a SIN will have 5 DINs and each DIN will have another 10 SINs, and those SINs will have another DINs. So the SIN DIN loop can continue to whatever depth we want it to. And for each of the entity, it will run all these A to I or J subclause for 29A. And it'll create that report. So that is a 29A agent, which will run out and do the job and give us a report. Not only will it flag if it finds something, but also probably explain what those flag mean and what we should do about them. Of course, that will come to you as a report and you will have to do the final. Then there could be, as I said, plan comparison or plan verification. You give it a plan. Now, the plan is a confidential plan. Now, that cannot be run outside. That has to run from within, because you'll have to give out a plan to some third party for verification, whether it's complete or not. Unless that third party is known to you, is already a service provider, undertakes an NDA, and you do all the other things, you may have to do this internally. And so the confidentiality of the plan has to be managed through various legal processes if you don't want to do it in-house. Similar for plan scoring. So there are 10 plans that need to be scored, etc., and some kind of mechanism. Again, since it's a confidential thing, so you might have to do it internal. Externally, you'll have to identify the right person. For example, PUFA transaction, I could have an agent go online and pay the 150 rupees, get the entire MCA record in PDF format, somehow magically go through all the data on those PDFs, XBRLs, and make me some kind of a forensic or PUFA kind of report from whatever is available. I mean, not that it's complete. We still need bank statements. We still need 100 other documents. But this is like the low-hanging fruits, which can be easily done, because the second part would require confidential information. So bank statements, they are not available on the net. All the private contracts, etc., they all privy to, they're all confidential. So we're trying to segregate here and see what are the public data the agents can run and somehow magically perform. How they do it, we are not going there because that's all technical. But if all these can be done in matter of days, hours by AI, and all these things are given to us on the platter, it will make our life so much easier. We can then also use, we will still have to engage valuers and auditors, because human in the loop is not going away, but you will have a good starting point. To the extent that we can also imagine that there is an asset memorandum and you've got an Excel sheet of all the assets, and you ask one of the agents to go and value them. So what the agent could possibly do, again, I repeat, magically, is go to Amazon.com or the GEM portal, right? Or for wherever from, and get, or maybe circle rates of all the circles in India, and depending upon the size or whatever, calculate valuation. And if we know the date and the age of the asset, it will probably run depreciation as well. So these are public, but then again, asset memorandum is confidential. So that is only known to you, and you could have that agent run it yourself or through a third party through an NDA. And you'll have a good starting point of what valuation should look like before you hand it over to the valuer to do it, because he's also probably going to do it in the same manner. But here you have an agent who's going to be doing it for you. And in cases of MSME where we have only one valuer and we don't know how to have a corresponding second valuation benchmark, we could be using a valuation agent like this. There are so many ways, and there are so many simplistic ways that we can use. So even if it's a building, we know if it's a what is the cost of building per square foot in a dilapidated condition, and good or a bad or a best, whatever. So we know what is the cost of construction per square foot. We can have a fair amount of understanding. And so what I'm trying to say here is just giving you a sample of what these agents are, how these agents will run external of your system using public data. And you could have a corresponding sets of agents running privately or through a third-party NDA mechanism, keeping the humans in the loop intact. Am I audible? I hope I'm not talking to myself.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
you are
yes.
audible.
Yes, you are audible, sir.
Yeah. No, I just went on and on and on. For a second, I thought maybe. Okay. So have I opened certain doors of possibilities?
Yes, sir.
Any questions? Because I thought this was a very critical point of sort of bringing to light what is going to come around the corner. And it's a very clean sort of segregation between what agent is doing. Agent is doing all these things, giving you a report. The report will not come to you in a PDF format. The report has to come to you in a different format, just like the format that I'm using. So this what you see here is assume this to be a report. So the agent will give this kind of report, and you will be doing this kind of thing. You could go here, you could add comment, you could do whatever, and you could then print it as a PDF if you want to. But it will give you a half-baked, ready to eat cookie. You just have to warm it up and embellish it and then take it forward.
Sir, could you please elaborate again? What is this concept of hallucination in AI?
Hallucination ये होता है कि कई बार क्या होता है, okay, what we are all doing wrong is that we are asking a very big LLM a very generic question. So even if it's not a generic question, if it's a specific question, but it's worded in it's understood by the LLM, in a generic perspective. तो LLM क्या करता है, उसके पास LLM को कहा गया कि तुमने जवाब देना ही देना है, तुमने ये नहीं कहना मुझे नहीं आता. और अगर आपको ने उससे कोई ऐसा सवाल पूछा जो उसे नहीं आता, तो वो अपने आप कुछ ना कुछ बना देगा, एक कहानी बना देगा, एक राजा था, एक रानी थी, वो ऐसा हुआ, वो ऐसा हुआ, ये हुआ, वो हुआ, और आपको ऐसा लगेगा कि ऐसा तो सच में होगा कुछ ना कुछ, जबकि वो उसने अपने मन से बनाया होगा. So hallucination is this ability to dream. The AI dreams and cooks up a story. But it cooks up a story only because, and that is what we don't get right, when we ask a general question, or we ask a question which has no answer, it doesn't know the answer to, and we don't harness it. Harness meaning we don't guardrail it. You literally have to tell it कि अगर तेरे को नहीं आता ना तो मेरे को बोल देना कि तेरे को नहीं आता. Don't cook up anything. So if you add that line, it will stop hallucinating. It's as simple as that. Otherwise, what these companies have done is they are all trying to go what is called as artificial general intelligence. कि इसको सब कुछ आता है. So in order to be God, they have told the LLM कि जो मन में है बोल देना, ताकि किसी को ऐसा ना लगे मैंने सवाल पूछा था उसको तो आता ही नहीं था. They don't want to hear that.
Without any guardrail, basically.
This is without any guardrail. But if you put a guardrail, or if you prompt it, or if you don't have to type this line again and again. There is a place where you can put it. Okay, for all practical purposes, assume that you're an insolvency professional and you're going to be doing this, and you will not. If you don't answer, if you don't know, you will say I don't know.
So as a user, how would I know whether the guardrails are in place or not?
No, you will put them. Why
अच्छा,
will
I
I
will
assume?
myself. Okay,
why
okay,
will we assume के चैट जीपीटी तुम्हारे लिए गार्डरेल रखेगा, हम नहीं मानते, और उसने भी रख दिया हमने भी रख दिया तो कोई हर्ज नहीं है.
Okay.
But there are systems which are specific, so that is why they say that if you train your own system, or if you if you make your own LLM, Indian LLM, etc., then you can embed these guardrails in its core philosophy. So जैसे हमारा धर्म है कि हम झूठ नहीं बोलेंगे, तो उसके भी एक धर्म की जो फाइल है उसमें हम लिख देते हैं कि आप झूठ नहीं बोलोगे, या नहीं आता तो आप बोल दोगे आपको नहीं आता. So then it will become a part of its sort of cultural output kind of thing.
Okay.
So data protection, privacy, purpose limitation, AI system shall be deployed and used solely for specific purpose which they've been approved. ठीक है. So whatever the usage is, it will, in any case, all these agents are limited purpose limitation there is on, because एक agent को एक चीज बोलते हो और उसको उसी चीज के अंदर excel करने को कहते हो, तो naturally a 29A agent will not do a PUFA verification for you. उसके लिए अलग है, उसके लिए अलग उसको बताया गया वगैरह वगैरह. So purpose limitation, proportionality is what we were looking at. That human in the loop has to be, so let's read this. 12(2) mandates that application involve high risks to personal liberty, human lawful rights, judicial integrity, faces heightened safeguards. Correct. Include mandatory human in the loop. Correct. Mandatory. ठीक है. However, it fails to provide a clear objective mechanism to downgrade or exempt system that handle complex data, financial data sets, but only do a preparatory or procedural activity. तो अगर आपने सिर्फ डेटा सेट्स को रन करके एक रिपोर्ट बनानी है, उसके अंदर आपने, और वो दैट इज अ प्रेपरेटरी स्टेप फॉर द प्रोफेशनल. सो प्रोफेशनल इज गोना लुक एट इट एनीवे, बट फॉर दैट सिस्टम यू डोंट हैव टू से कि सिस्टम भी ह्यूमन इन द लूप रखेगा और फिर वो ह्यूमन इन द लूप जो है वो दूसरे ह्यूमन को देगा. सो देयर दिस कुड बी AI loop or human looping. If it's an AI human is fine, and AI human is mandatory for sensitive tasks. AI human is not mandatory, but like AI system which is using these preparatory tasks, procedural tasks, need not necessarily have it. Otherwise वो agent रहेगा ही नहीं. वो तो agent, it's like human only, just like we use Excel sheets or go to internet. It's a human doing the search, but you replace that human with an agent and you say इसमें human in the loop तो है नहीं, और naturally वो human in the loop नहीं है, लेकिन वो काम भी it's not doing a very critical work. Go ahead. आप कुछ कह रहे थे? Okay. So so even in EU, we look at the other countries who also have similar AI. Now every country is coming up with their AI regulations at a national level, at a domain level, sectoral level. So we are going to see them everywhere, and we can learn from each other, because we are all going to be facing the same issue. There are going to be AI, there are going to be agents, there are going to be humans, and there's going to be some bit of balancing act where the humans remain paramount while we get the benefit of the efficiencies through AI. So when we look at EU, they also have exemptions on high-risk compliance burdens to narrow procedural tasks. and they have. I think ICICI आपका ही आ रहा है. Can I mute you? No, I can't. Can we have someone from ICICI to mute themselves so that we can hold on?
Sir, I am on mute only.
नहीं आप हाँ there you go. Thank you so much. आपको मैं फोन करने लगा था. Okay, good. All right. Same thing. We are going over the same thing, that there is derogations for preparatory and narrow procedural tasks where human in the loop need not be overly sort of asked for. So that has to be done. Data integrity, we went over. What does it say? Data is accurate at everything. Data is not an issue. Cyber security, again, naturally. So cyber security coming, there are a couple of things you've heard of. Claude coming up with Mythos, and a lot of cyber security risks and this and that. And we see that AI is coming on your machines. I think the next laptop that you will buy, you will be able to run all the AI on your local machine. And and plus these models will become small enough to not require a GPU, and whatever tasks that you need to do with the leverage of AI, you can do confidentially on your own laptop. So cybersecurity risks should become lower. Nevertheless, we should keep the cybersecurity issues in mind. So presumption in favor of responsible adoption. Every court shall actively seek opportunity. So this is important. He says every court shall actively seek opportunity to deploy AI system. वो कह रहा है हम रास्ता ढूंढेंगे AI को लाने का. It is not a way to get rid of AI. It says we have to seek opportunities or AI tools that demonstrably improve access, reduce delay, enhance efficiency. Unless proven otherwise, the presumption shall be in the favor of responsible adoption. This is very critical. We cannot say, oh, of course we can say, but what this is saying is that we will go we'll go out looking for AI's benefits, unless proven otherwise, which is true. Provided no AI system, AI tool for the purpose of assistance of the court processes shall replace humans as far as decision making is concerned. Fair enough. Decision making we don't want, shall not deploy for dispute outcome prediction. So we will go out and actively search for adoption of AI. So all of us who are sitting on the fence saying AI is this, AI is that, we don't. I mean, here and those who will leverage AI, as I will try and show you in a demo, you'll find that there is no option but to use AI. No matter how hard you try, you will get caught somewhere, because as I will show you, in a 29A sample, the amount of depth of work it can do, which is required by law for us to do, which we humanly cannot possibly do. So we are sort of caught in between. In case we don't permit, then we will give it in writing as to why we are not permitting. So you see how important it is. If we refuse to use system, we will give it in writing. This is being done at the register level by the registrar or auditor. कि नहीं जी हमें डर लगता है, हमें तो ये है कि ये ना हो जाए, वो ना हो जाए. You will have to give it in, which may be correct, may be true, may not be true, but you have to give it in writing. So what we are proposing is, provided that the restriction on dispute outcome prediction shall not apply to quantitatively risk-based or commercial feasibility scoring of business reorganization plan. Coming back to the same thing, that the dispute outcome prediction, again, so there's a little mix of words here. Prediction means prediction scoring or coming out with outcomes, dispute outcomes, will not be applicable on us insolvency professionals, because we have to have plans compared and asset valuations, etc. done. Of course, human primacy and judicial independence continue to remain, but this is very critical.
Sir,
Yes.
are we then excluding, say, let us say there's a resolution plan?
Yeah.
From two resolution plans, okay?
Yeah.
One is from a AAA kind of entity, okay?
Correct.
Then you have another plan which is superior to this plan,
Correct.
but from a shady entity,
Okay.
from a financial standpoint. ठीक है? उसमें आपने लिखा क्राइटेरियन में प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ डिफॉल्ट,
करेक्ट,
और प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ डिफॉल्ट में आ गया कि भाई ये तो सेकंड प्लान दो सुपीरियर ऑन पेपर ठीक नहीं,
करेक्ट,
ओके, मतलब इट जस्ट इंफीरियर टू दिस। तो उसमें आपने तो रेजोल्यूशन प्लान कंपेयर किया, विच इज ओके फ्रॉम अ एआई फ्रॉम योर रेगुलेशन स्टैंड पॉइंट, बट आपने डिस्प्यूट आउटकम भी आपने उसमें एक क्राइटेरिया डाला, तो वो अलाउड नहीं है।
डिस्प्यूट आउटकम का क्राइटेरिया कैसे डाला?
प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ डिफॉल्ट
नहीं। सो प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ डिफॉल्ट, सो देयर कपल ऑफ थिंग्स। वन इज कि 29A के अंदर अगर वो रेड फ्लैग अगर वो अपना नहीं ठीक कर पा रहा, तो वैसे ही वो उसका प्लान
नहीं, 29A उसका क्लियर है।
ओके, अगर 29A क्लियर है तो फिर हम प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ डिफॉल्ट किस बेसिस पे निकाल रहे हैं कि फिर तो सिर्फ इसने कम पैसे दिए उसने ज्यादा पैसे दिए, सिर्फ इतनी बात रह जाएगी। बिकॉज
नहीं, उसमें एक बोलेगा कि भाई मैं आपको अपफ्रंट दे रहा हूँ 100 करोड़,
करेक्ट,
वो अदर फेलो विल से नहीं नहीं नहीं, बिकॉज ऑफ द प्रोजेक्शंस ऑफ दिस एंटायर एंटिटी आई विल टर्न इट अराउंड एंड आई विल गिव यू 500 करोड़ ओवर 3 years।
करेक्ट,
ठीक है,
हाँ।
तो हो गया।
नहीं तो फिर हम उसमें ऐसा करते हैं ना, वो आई एम कमिंग टू दैट। सो उसके अंदर फॉर एग्जांपल, ऑल्दो दिस फॉल्स विद इन द पर्व्यू ऑफ कमर्शियल विजडम ऑफ सीओसी की मर्जी के 100 रुपए आज लेने हैं कि 500 रुपए 3 साल पे लेने हैं, तो दैट इज पॉइंट नंबर 1। अगर आपने ये चीज प्लान को पूछनी है कि मैं क्या लूं, तो वो मैथमेटिकली करेगा कि 500 रुपए 3 साल के ऊपर लेने में आज का इतना बनता है, वो प्रेजेंट वैल्यू निकाल के आपको कुछ कहानी सुनाएगा। सो इस तरह से वो एक, मतलब it's really up to us how we want it to operate. So scoring methodology will be given by us. If we say look 29 is okay on both sides, fine, अब तो सिर्फ कमर्शियल वैल्यू करना है, उसके अंदर भी आपको अगर मैथमेटिकली फाइनेंशियल मॉडलिंग करके कुछ देखना है, दैट इज पॉइंट नंबर 1। अदरवाइज इफ वी आस्क इट टू स्कोर इट कि इसको 6 नंबर दो, उसको 7 नंबर दो, then we'll have to tell him the criteria. We can't really say अपने आप देख ले, what make your own criteria, give your own scoring. I mean, obviously we'll not do that.
No, it's like this. The probability of default, आप अगर देखते हैं as a banker, one would see, ठीक है, I mean, if he is in a certain X industry, this is the kind of revenue that the industry is generating, this is the kind of profit margin they are generating. Okay, and these are the current competitors and these are the market shares. Now, this guy is given the plan, as per the plan, he is giving you a certain amount of revenue and profit potential, which translates into a certain market share over 3 years, which is highly improbable. So this projection is not worth the paper it's written on. इसको छोड़ो, ठीक है? अब that's the way a banker would analyze, and I'm sure the model also would do the same.
Correct.
But this is a probability which he is ascribing to based on a certain criteria, which is black box. Today we don't. तो ये अलाउड है क्या? अल्टीमेटली ठीक है, ह्यूमर आएगा उसमें, लेकिन ये प्रोबेबिलिटी का क्राइटेरिया आपने दे दिया है, वो मतलब दे सकते हैं कि नहीं दे सकते?
अच्छा, अगर यही सवाल आप अभी, if you ask the same question to ChatGPT right away, it'll start explaining in its best manner कि ये ऐसा मेरे को ऐसा लग रहा है, ऐसा whatever you said and you answered your question, you know, somewhat के उसका ये है वो है. So it will also give a descriptive answer. It'll give a descriptive answer. So we can ask when you say compare model, we can say, give me description of all these flagging or whatever you feel are flagged, but don't give me a score, give me a description. So you could do a copy paste and ask this description, or we could run specific models which specifically do this kind of jobs to describe it, but you take a call. The call is with you. It'll do the description, it'll make a table of comparison, and we may not want it to give it a score at all. We'll say, हम तो score रहने दे, हम अपने आप देख लेंगे, बस मेरे को दिखा दे तेरे पास क्या क्या है. And that I'm quite sure should be allowed. It is the only way forward.
So what you're telling is कि इसको criteria को, the way it should be framed should not be as a dispute outcome.
No.
Query,
There's
but
no
it
dispute.
should be as a analytical
this
framework.
It's not even a dispute. This is not we are comparing plans. There is no dispute here, unless you want to look at it from that angle. But there is no dispute. A is not saying B is wrong. A is saying I am doing this. B is saying I'm doing that. And we just again, for all practical purposes, assume that you give this task to GPT today and say कि दो plan आए हैं, एक उसमें ये paragraph में ये बोल रहा है, ये बोल रहा है. What do you think of it? And you find it'll give a good explanation right away. Although it'll be a generic explanation, we're not happy with this thing. We'd like to have a more targeted, etc. You can have use trained models which are trained for answering these kind of things, which are all happening. But it's not a dispute. So we don't look at it from a dispute resolution point of view, and we can skip the scoring point and just say, just give me an explanation. We will use our own mind, which is what the mandate of the law is anyway. वो बोलेगा कि
dispute outcome है क्या?
वो dispute outcome ये जो है ना, ये ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जो AI regulations के निकाला है कि अगर दो parties आती हैं, मतलब you'll have to think outside the IBC now. So two parties are coming and they are disputing over something, and you are feeding, both the sides of the story, and the AI is saying कि I think that A को B को पैसे दे देने चाहिए, ये है वो है, that kind of thing. So actual dispute issue.
मतलब application and response दोनों आपने upload कर दिया, बोला कि अभी decision दे दो, ऐसा?
हाँ. That is what an AI judge does. So what you do to an AI judges, which is in China, which is very prevalent, you can check it up on the internet, which is what we are not allowing it to happen, but it is possible. There is this system which knows all the laws, and I mean, it's like a human judge. He's supposed to know all the laws, so the system knows all the laws. You got two sides, both giving their own petitions and whatever response, whatever, and going through it. It sits in judgment and maybe ask for clarification, and having clarified, etc., says, this is my reasoned judgment. This is what the law says. This is the proof I see. In case of any changes, let me know. I mean, the sense, any new evidence. Otherwise, it'll give a judge, which again has to be stamped by a final human judge, which is हाँ मैंने देख लिया, ठीक है. And it's possible. I mean, it's no rocket science actually. कुछ भी नहीं है ये.
Yeah, I agree.
Hello.
हाँ जी, बोलिए.
I heard that in most of the country they are using the AI.
हाँ जी.
And they are putting who is the judge is there, which kind of case is there, and what is the background is there, and according to that they are expecting the judgment from the respective judge. Such kind of is prevailing.
Yeah. We are having regulations and we are stopping it from going all out. Most countries are not happy with it, and plus, why would humans allow AI to run around, and especially the legal fraternity. But from a technology point of view, this is an old story. I mean, this is an old technology.
Sorry to interrupt you, Atul ji. Actually, whatever the AI, it is only for the reducing the manual work only. but the judgment will be come out from the our view only, the judge's view only.
तो मैं वही आपसे कह रहा हूँ ना. So two issues. One is, no matter what the AI say, at the end of the day, you're not going to let it. Well, it's not unlike we see in movies where the AI, which movie was it, where it's the judge, jury, and executioner. We are obviously we are not there. So अगर कोई AI judgment बनाता भी है तो वो जज के लिए जजमेंट बना रहा है, जजमेंट दे नहीं रहा. वो उसको पढ़ के कोई nobody is putting anybody behind bars. But what I'm saying is that an interim judgment comes out subject to approval by a human judge. But technology is there. आज चाहो तो
Technology is there for to reduce the manual work only.
सर रिड्यूस हो गया ना, आपको सारा उसने पढ़ के बता दिया, आपने उसको वेरीफाई करना है. इट इज हेल्पिंग, इट इज रिड्यूसिंग द ह्यूमन. अदरवाइज नोटिस है, तारीख है, उसने जवाब दिया, उसने किया, आज है नहीं, ये वगैरह वगैरह वगैरह. वी अंडरस्टैंड ऑल दैट. सो ऑल दोस थिंग्स गोस. अभी भी आई थिंक आई हैव हर्ड वेयर the courts are asking for summaries in bullet points. What are you trying to say, rather than giving all long answers. So there could very well be a summarization added, executive summary bullet point of, although even in our prayers, etc., they're all bullet points anyway. But still, if it can be done, or even if it's not done, then you just run it through AI. वो अपने आप वो कर लेगा.
Exactly.
So anyway, appropriate authority to identify use, fair enough. So there is an authority which will say what can be used from time to time. Okay. Permissible use and prohibited use. So these are the two critical things. I believe there was a question right in the beginning. So let's see what are. As of now, what they're saying is permissible use, which is from a court's perspective, not from IBC or insolvency. Case management, automated transcription, translation, legal research, administrative functions, filing, etc., which is also happening. Conversational AI assistant. Now, this is the same thing as ChatGPT. You guide chatbots to assist litigants and other stakeholders to access court services. But it says आप सिर्फ court services को कैसे आपको access करना है, उसका assistant चाहिए. आप general question नहीं पूछेंगे कि मैं अब क्या करूं. You'll say मैं कितने रुपए का stamp लगेगा या कहाँ से खरीदूं. Only those services. Or understanding of procedural requirements. So for these specific cases, they're saying you have to use a conversational agent. Otherwise, who's going to answer these questions? Accessibility, meaning text to speech, speech to text, braille translation. So now we have these Indian models which are conversant in all Indian languages. Rather, now we have all the languages of the world. The same model does it. Accessibility हो गया, documentation, authentication, verification. Okay. We already having document numbers or whatever, but nevertheless, anonymization of judgments. So all judgments need to be anonymized. Now, I do not know if this is good or bad, because how will we know undischarged insolvents, or how will we be able to do 29A if we don't know who the litigants are? Is there going to be another system to help us that if we anonymize all judgments, then we don't know? And the presence of names of the litigants, if it's a public or a private or a confidential thing, do we want names to be redacted? I don't know. So this is another question. Analytical tools, yes. Auto generation of prescribed formats. Okay. So summons, notices with metadata merge. So what is saying, notices or summons वगैरह जो हम हाथ से बार-बार बनाते हैं, वो आप prescribed format में auto generate भी करो या format में. अभी तो format है हमारे पास. But for what we need asset marketing. How will we do it? I mean, this is the permissible use of AI for insolvency. asset marketing, we need marketing agents, we need 29A verification agents, we need resolution plan verification agents, resolution plan comparison agents, asset valuations, PUFA, asset forensic agents. And they could be using public data, and they could also be using confidential data depending upon how you want to use it. So that was the permissible use. And we can think of many more, but we have to send this as a recommendation. So in case they want to either include it in the Supreme Court regulations, or would it be under NCLT or IBBI regulation for AI, as and when they come out, we'll have to figure that out. Prohibited use. So this is what: no personal data of any person shall be used to train, test, or refine any AI system without the prior approval of the authority. So no personal data of any person. No judicial outcome. That the AI will never pass a judgment for action. It can make a judgment for the judge, or report for the IP, or any kind of document output for the next human to work on. But no outright outcome is what it's saying. No AI agent shall perform the functioning of adjudication, same thing. Human in the loop is mandatory. No AI system shall be used for risk scoring. So what risk scoring this is referring to time and time again is flight risk. Is this person going to run away? Prediction of recidivism. Evaluation of bail eligibility. इसको देना चाहिए कि नहीं देना चाहिए? Yeah, evaluation of bail eligibility, eligible or not. Determination of credibility of parties. So those kind of risk assessment which evaluate humans and human things, not financial scores, but human related scoring is what it's referring to. But it's not, since we need to have clarification put in here that this is limited to that, but the others are allowed. I think we have added it here, so we'll work on it. Undisclosed, opaque, unexplainable AI systems shall be used, may materially affect the law. Okay, undisclosed. So opaque systems are prohibited. AI system shall not be used to predict, profile, infer future conduct or behavior of the parties. This is what they're saying. So probably they're saying the same thing again in different words. Needs to be. No AI system shall be used for surveillance, monitoring of judicial officers, advocates, litigants, whatever. Okay. Now this is strange because
but
AI
this
systems
is
being used
eminently
everywhere.
possible, right?
Sorry.
Surveillance, because of the, if you're coming online and you're able to see the judges, you're able to see the court officers, litigants, all online through
Which we do
cameras or through the thing.
So that's what I'm saying. It's what it's saying is that, see, right now we are seeing, we see through the camera, but it's human seeing it. You can't have an AI system keep watching what's happening and then coming up with conclusions as to what's what. So AI system within or in connection with the court premises or court processes, and also except as may be authorized. So it's pretty wide. Yeah, but you have a point. Right now, cameras are there, but there are no AI systems which are surveilling those cameras right now. No AI generated output shall be submitted to the court as independent source of evidence without full transparent disclosure AI generated. So I believe, since all of us are using ChatGPT, we will have to say that we are using some part of it. But they see ChatGPT is also, I write a sentence and I ask AI to make the sentence better, more legible, more better. And it simply changes the words for me and rewrites a simple English sentence. Now, do I have to put a saying that the sentence, although has been generated by AI? Or is it only the case laws and other things that I ask, which I may not know, but I say AI to make it up for me or something? But effectively, this means is that half of our applications, pleadings, etc., in the court will have that it is AI generated, some kind of disclosure.
Hello?
Yes, Hanji.
Actually, sir, that is a kind of it is written here. It is generally asked by the college who are making the dissertations or research reports. So they are saying the students you should not use the AI or somewhere else. Then they are checking their publication in their some specified AI or their tool is there, and they are putting there your report is there and checking how much plagiarism is there, how much duplication is there, then giving back to the student again. He just remove it and give it back again. There is applicable there. They are using from other content, giving money monthly, yearly, whatever it is.
So just like, so here I don't know if there is a direct equivalence of from a PhD thesis point of view, but here it seems that we have to write a disclaimer, which we should. It doesn't really harm if we say, okay, we have help, we've taken the help of AI. We've taken the help now, so there is it's inevitable anyway. I do not know how many of us will no matter how much I do, I still go and double check it, even whatever I have written. I see, make it more human, make it better, and I find that it does. Somehow it manages to make my thoughts clearer to me.
But sir,
So,
it will definitely help the judiciary also. They want standardize everything. If we want in this standard, in this is format, we want this one. If the AI will generate the such a format which is generally demanded by the judiciary, so it is good for them also. They will.
हाँ, तो वो ये नहीं कह रहे कि आप AI यूज मत करो. वो कह रहे हैं आप ये मत कहो कि ये इंडिपेंडेंट सोर्स ऑफ एविडेंस है. Probably from evidence point of view they are trying to say some kind of evidence कि AI ने कहा था. You can't say AI ने कहा था, or you can't say newspaper में पढ़ा था. So I think there is a limit to what they're trying to say. In any case, they're saying आप disclose करो, we have no issues. Unless there are people who are biased against AI, उसे AI का नाम लेते ही वो छिड़ जाते हैं कि आपने AI बोला, you please step out. Other than that, they are simply saying आप disclose करो और आप ये मत कहो कि AI ने कहा तो इसको सत्वचन है. आप I think this is what it is trying to say.
Sir, I think judiciary is most concerned about the source of information from where you have taken and quoted it before the judiciary. That is the intended by the judiciary itself, isn't so?
Yes. तो सोर्स ऑफ इनकम हम जब जाते हैं, हमारे पास सोर्स ऑफ इनकम क्या, सोर्स ऑफ इनकम कह रहा हूँ, सोर्स ऑफ
Source of
इंफॉर्मेशन,
information, right?
वो हमारे पास कहाँ से रहती है? हमारे पास either the parties come and give us their facts and documents based on the facts, so that's one information. The other is case laws and the law, that is the other information, and we put them all together and we present it to the court, followed with, unless it's a criminal case where the evidence is of things like other things, but you're right, the evidence, I think it relates to the evidence. You can't say that AI as an independent source of evidence cannot be used.
Where is the evidence? Sir, where is the evidence is concerned? Supreme Court will see the Bharatiya Sakshya Adhiniyam or Evidence Act. What is written there? Which kind of evidence is more valuable, and then according to that he will take decision. Na? So he will have to prove that.
So most of the time, these regulations are written just to cover certain aspects, just in case. But I believe they are all subject to common sense, etc. So I think it's independent source of evidence. without full transparent disclosure. So you do a disclosure, say AI generated, and don't use it. In any case, the judge is going to see the evidence. Let's move forward. AI will not be used in any way as it compromises the confidentiality of the judicial deliberations, etc., which is again common sense. Now, what we are saying so far as risk scoring, it keeps coming back to risk scoring, where we keep saying that the financial viability KPIs and forensic asset valuations, anything that requires some kind of numerical, has to be limited, has to be allowed from our point of view. But we are not trying to score a human behavioral outcome or predict. So that we're okay with. And this is just how we'd like to redraft it. No AI system shall be utilized for the purposes of autonomously generating, altering, embellishing, or substantially rephrasing a factual content of a trial witness statement. So what they're saying is, there's a trial witness who's giving a statement, और आप उसका अपना एक meaning निकाल के कर रहे हो. You have to. So this is a simple thing. We're not translating what he's trying to say. We're not trying to read what he's saying. That we write as is. Automated algorithmic verification. No party shall utilize generative AI to independently cross-verify, confirm, or certify the accuracy of another AI. So we used one AI to generate something, and we used another AI to verify that generation part. A human has to be there. So it's just a bit of clarification that we thought we would put in our suggestions. Remedial measures by AI committee. Every violation shall be reported within the AI secretariat, which shall be placed within the AI committee. AI committee shall, or whatever remedial measures, nothing serious. Policy making. So there's an apex body, which is Supreme Court, which will have 2 judges. High Court will have judges, 1 member, Joint Secretary, Finance, Cybersecurity, advocates, professionals. Fair enough. What is the function? The function will be to ensure that no AI system does it. There's a benchmarking. We uphold the governing principles. We coordinate with the High Court to harmonize the national approach to governance, to liaison with MIT or NIC or whatever computer boards, etc. So essentially to bring all these things together under one, how to coordinate amongst various things, because they are now going to be plugged into all systems, and we need a centralized body to keep an eye on everything. So then there are certain powers they have. We'll not go through them. Then there is a committee of apex body, judicial committee, technical committee, infrastructure, case management, cybersecurity. Judicial committee will have judicial members. Technical committee will have technical members. Committee on infrastructure will be such and such. Case and data management committee. We don't have to really go through all of them. Just say what it's saying, but I will give you a copy of this to everybody so that you can, now that you know how to go through this, how to use this software, you can go through it if you want to. Cybersecurity committee, procedure to be followed by committee. What procedures do they follow? Center of Research and Excellence on Artificial Intelligence. There shall be a Center of Research and Excellence, Core AI, as an integrated body having such members in technology law. Judges, core shall coordinate research, AI tools, prototypes, centralized records, same thing, technical advice, continuous monitoring, organizing conferences, which reminds me that I think ICSI, IIP is also coming up with a 5-day certification program on AI. It's a very detailed thing. It's going to be 2 hours for 5 days, once a week kind of thing. So there'll be many conferences and seminars that you will come across henceforth. So there are these AI committees. Again, we'll not go through them. They are saying the same thing. And then there is an AI secretariat. The AI secretariat is a dedicated secretariat. And this, every committee shall be supported. Chief Justice of respective High Court. So every high court is going to have a separate secretariat on AI. Number of officers, terms of service, power to grant tools. So here is the thing. It says the AI tools that will be approved, used for administrative purpose, adjudicatory function, tools, whatever. So what we are trying to say here is that the limits of AI secretariat's expedited approval powers. So what's going to happen is that all these things are changing so fast. If we get into a bureaucratic or this kind of a system where the approvals are not coming and साल लग रहा है कुछ हो ही नहीं रहा, तो फिर AI का यूज ही नहीं हो रहा. As it is, India is way behind in its AI usage compared to other countries, and we keep talking about it. Now, if we have these committees and auditors and secretariats and all these big bodies and the whole thing going up and down, nothing will ever get approved. And we need to have for simplistic systems, which, for example, specialized vertical agents, asset marketing, 29 verification, plan scoring, forcing every minor agent variation or patch to go through a full centralized Supreme Court apex body evaluation pipeline will completely paralyze the AI scaling potential. And AI cannot operate strictly under if it is going to operate under human in the loop, where outputs are purely advisory or verified or to a verified professional, it should be fast tracked. So there are certain things which is AI is to be used at the very edge of outcome, or AI is being used somewhere in between as a staging reporting area for the professional. So far as the edge use is concerned, yes, you need to be very careful because the outcome is going to be immediately be applicable. Whereas in case of marketing, verification, plan, scoring, etc., it's not the edge case. It's a report being generated with a flagged report for the professional. So what we are trying to say here is कि उनको इतना देखने की जरूरत नहीं है. उनको एक बार आप approve कर दो और छोटे मोटी changes तो होती रहती हैं. Sometime a new thing will come. We have our own regulations change so often. So every change in regulation just might trigger a change in the AI system, which might trigger a complete approval pipeline, which may end up taking months and years, is what we are trying to say. Okay, we have to segregate these two. So, for example, when you use ChatGPT, you immediately use the answer, as an actionable. The outcome is actionable immediately. You put it on your application and then you just give it to the court. Whereas if supposing somebody were to generate a 29 for you, then it's not actionable. It will come to you. You will sit and work on it for whatever time, and then you will create a final report. These two have to be segregated. AI secretaries have the power to grant expedited approval is what we are suggesting. 30 days के अंदर ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा फटाफट हमने दिया और आपने बताया जिसके अंदर microservices whatever. Human in the loop paradigm अगर सब जगह है ही है तो बहुत ज़्यादा देखने की ज़रूरत नहीं है because human is always going to be responsible. Standardized pre-vetted data privacy anonymized protocols established. अगर पहले ही हम public data use कर रहे हैं, anonymization पहले ही हो रखी है, तो उसको अंदर you don't have to keep getting into the system. And it is to be deployed to help the fiduciaries, practitioners, etc. So this is the AI secretariat. Now let's quickly run through. Okay. So we will hasten a little. Oversight accountability, same thing. You will have oversight accountability, controlled environment testing. So what they're saying is that any system will have to be run in a sandboxed environment. We want to see data कहाँ से आ रहा है, चल रहा है, नहीं चल रहा. उसके अंदर भी हम बोल रहे हैं कि there are some changes. What they are saying is that a controlled environment will happen in the court premises itself. आप सारा अपना तामझाम वहाँ लेकर आओ. Bring your own computer systems everywhere, and that is where we will run it. So what we are saying is that certain things which are already there in the cloud, you can sandboxes there itself. So I think they are writing so because not everybody understand how the IT works, but I believe there is going to be a practical side of it. AI has a register, the AI register, where all these systems will be maintained, who is creating what system. Then there are audits, naturally, periodical audits at in-house appropriate authority. And what we are saying here is that alternatively, for a cloud-based or a marketplace-driven architecture, compliances may be verified via a secure same thing. In case of AI incident, then naturally there's a database, kab kya hua, and corrective measures, etc. Discretion in the supervising AI system. So, however, under no circumstances shall the performance, evaluation, promotion of professional standing be negatively impacted. So essentially, somebody has to supervise the system and somebody has to have the discretion in supervising of the system. So right now it's saying the nominated officer responsible for supervising a shall retain full discretion to accept, modify, or reject. So it really depends. There could be officers who would not be happy with anything, because if I were to start picking holes, I'll pick holes in anything. So what we're saying is that don't give him so much power. Again, we have to have a nuanced way of looking. Is it a helping system or is it an end use case? Review of systems already in use, emergency and fallback protocol, transparency and disclosure. So codes shall where AI tool materially assists in any nothing, it's just transparency and you will disclose and be transparent. Fair enough. AI content verification authority. So now this is funny because AI content verification authority is different from this and that. So I do not know why there's so many authorities coming up, and as a result, the whole thing will not even. Appropriate authority shall constitute a dedicated institutional authority to be designated as an AI content verification authority charged with oversight, operation, and continuous updation of verification standards. Okay. So there is a standard authority different from the verification, from the audit, from this. So multiple authorities. This is something that we have to too many. Save. Annual transparency report. So anyway, some kind of reporting system. Procurement and private.
So one thing, what is
Yeah.
this AI register which was there in the previous thing?
So what they're saying is that for all AI applications, there will be a register. मतलब वो register ही बोलते हैं, चाहे आप उसको online Word document में save करो, but जिसमें लिखा होगा कि this AI is, this person has authored, or the owner of this AI, this is the data they're going to be using, this is how it runs, this is what the outcome is, this is what the audit report says, some kind of thing which gives a complete picture on what that particular AI application is about and what is the status, etc. So it's just a register of applications, assuming there are a couple of applications, but how many, I don't know. There won't be. So a register is just a register of applications with the ownership of, etc. So engagement of private entities. So so no private entity or third-party service provider shall undertake, participate to provide any service in connection with the AI system deployed in court without the prior letter approval. Chalo. Naturally, you'll have to apply. AI system prior to approval shall subject to comprehensive evaluation. Fair enough. AI systems will subject to transparency. Fair enough. ये आपका जो है mandatory provisions, ownership, access rights, code data, prohibition of the use, full compliance, obligation, rights, explainability, AI system supplied, data breach incident. AI secretary shall be empowered to grant expedited approval within 30 days. अच्छा है तो सही. AI is exclusive for administrative purpose, not involving personal data, does not affect judiciary functions, and is similar to tools. So, okay, what we are trying to say is already there. We didn't see this. AI Secretary shall maintain a register of tools. This is what you were saying, where AI tools are developed using court data, which data is being used, court resources. Appropriate authority shall ensure that the court retains ownership or perpetual royalty-free license as a resulting. So what they're saying is, if you make an application using court data, right, or which is essentially orders or court resources, which could be manpower or infrastructure or something, I don't know. But in case you use court's data, then you will not be the sole owner of that application. We, as in the court or the Indian government, you will have a perpetual, a royalty-free license in perpetuity of the resulting tool and its outputs. Now, this could also be a little tricky because what is there related to court data anyway? Essentially, we have orders, and orders are all on public domain. So other than that, it's कि कौन सा case कौन सी तारीख को लगा, or who the judge was, or who the lawyers were, who the parties were, and that's where that's one part of the court data which is relevant to us. Other than that, we don't need any other court data, which is all internal, administrative. You know, who's on holiday, whatever, who's retiring, who's coming in, appointment, etc. Those are not relevant to us. But what this says is, and this could be a big spanner in that where AI tools are developed exclusively on the court under specific commission using public resources, court shall retain ownership. This provision shall not apply to pre-existing proprietary software, multi-agent framework, marketplaces. Because see, what is effectively by saying something like this, effectively we are killing all startups and everybody else, because there's nothing but code data to use for code-based applications, meaning orders. अब देखो Manupatra and all these things, we just use them for searching for court orders, precedences and all, and they are all using court data. So what do we do about it? Now all those things now belong to the government, or does the government has a royalty-free license in perpetuity? So this could be something to be looked at. We need limited financial exposure as well. Over here, it says the mandatory indemnity clause protecting the court from liability for harms caused by defects in vendor supply AI systems. Meaning, in case a vendor system AI fails, then the court is indemnified, point number one. But also, if AI hallucinates or something happens and somebody gets harmed financially or otherwise, then there is a responsibility lies on the vendor. So here they're just trying to, since there is already a human in the loop, which is mandatory, at the same time, if we put everything onto the vendor, you know, there'll be nobody willing to take up this kind of a job anyway then. Human in the loop is already there, mandatory. This thing, there has to be a reasonable cap commensurate with the contract value and whatever harm, if at all. But what do we mean by a harm? A resolution plan being approved with 95% discount based on a computer generated plan verification report, plan comparison report. Now who gets responsible? So likewise, if AI misses out on a 29A aspect, undischarged insolvent, it fails to identify. One, there's no data anyway, but one can say, well, you didn't say, he didn't say, and who's responsible, because now you've given a company to a person who was probably not eligible to participate. So where does the buck stop? If we have to write everything so openly, then every clause has to be mentioned. Otherwise, if we leave it as is, then it can be interpreted anyway. So then there are trade secrets that companies have. You're asking all the trade secrets to be brought out in the open and shown to the auditing committee, etc. Whereas all we really need to see is what the outcome is and if the outcome is correct or not. And, you know, whatever basis the report, in case if there is any harm. But no point getting into technical documentation, etc., because this could effectively mean all that. If we look at data breach, it says data breach, you'll be a suspension or termination is fine. Continuous monitoring is fine. Indemnity clause protecting court from liability on premise or sovereign deployment for AI systems, sensitive judicial data, fine. Explicit prohibition on retaining, fine tuning. So all models, if at all there is a model, it has to be fine tuned. It has to be fine tuned on the orders. In any case, whatever we are talking about is already, the cat is already out of the box anyway. You can ask ChatGPT, it'll give you all the Indian court cases, good, bad, ugly, hallucinated, non-hallucinated, but the cat is out of the bag. So if you're trying to redact confidential information, just try and ask ChatGPT about yourself. It'll probably know as much about you as you do. So things are already out. Nevertheless, this is what we have to work with. So data protection, cybersecurity, we have already gone through relevant laws, sensitive judicial data. It's again saying anonymization, etc. There's some ways of capacity building and training. Of course, there'll be capacity building, the repository of best practices. Fair enough. Review of training programs, grievance redressal and other remedies. What is grievance redressal? When a harm is caused to any party to a proceeding as a direct, indirect effect of the prohibited use, his legal representative may file an application earlier to go to the relevant system. Not such courts are to give reasonable appropriate orders. So naturally, if you're using it for a prohibited purpose, then somebody will adjudicate on you. High Court may lay down principal procedures for the adjudication of grievance arising from the use of AI in the court process. But then this is specifically AI in the court processes. It's not directly relevant to us, but we will all have to put our heads together and identify how we, keeping all these regulations in mind, enable us to be able to use, because things are getting tighter for us as well. The penalties are getting steeper and the timelines are getting shorter and so many things are happening, and it is humanly not going to be possible unless we leverage it somehow. Regulations not in derogation of other law, which is fine. Power to issue directions, fair enough. Power to relax or modify, review of regulations, etc. So overall, what we see is that there is human primacy and judicial independence. Then there is accountability issues, transparency and explainability, data protection. So these are broadly about 4 odd things that we have to. Then there are prohibited use and permissible uses. Simple ones, case management. So we'll also have to have our list of permissible and prohibited uses in IBC. Non-automated adjudication. So for example, we let's take an example of claims. We get claims, we ask for PDFs, and we ask the AI to summarize the PDFs and identify if the claim is commensurate with the information given in the documents. And so it generates some kind of a report, and so whatever red flags it creates, we obviously do a manual check, but whatever the green flags it creates, we still need to counter check and say if it's a false positive or a false negative. So we have to literally go through every bit to see what could be allowed, what not could be allowed, and then make our own set of regulations, get them approved, etc. So that we use it knowing that we are using it correctly. We cannot afford to not use it, and we cannot also afford to use it without knowing how to use it. So there is an apex body, then there is subcommittees, then there is a core AI, and then there is a state level committee. This is from this perspective. Oversight audit, impact assessment, controlled testing, strict local audits, mandatory disclosures, and private sector engagements. So this is what the AI regulation of the Supreme Court is about. So let's have a set of let's do some brainstorming and see in case there are things that we need to look at. Otherwise, what I'll do is I will show you the power of AI agent as to how we get an agent to do something and why is it imperative we use it.
So
In the
before
meantime,
you get into that, there's just one question I had.
go ahead.
You were saying that, the based on whatever judicial data is there, private sector entity cannot charge for it.
Just a
Correct?
sec.
That's
Sorry.
provision.
Come again. I didn't.
So based on judicial data, whatever models are done are created by AI agent by any of the private sector entities. They
Correct.
cannot charge for it because it's for public use. Correct?
Well, what it's saying is that the courts will have a license in perpetuity. The courts. So it's not that it's not that my that because I'm using AI data, so you get it for free. I mean, somebody will have to do a work on it, no? Collate, and a whole lot of work has to be done before it comes to you.
Right.
So, otherwise everything is public data, or so वो तो बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगा. Otherwise, so then there is no business model whatsoever. Then there is nothing. Everything is free for everyone. Then it becomes a
So it's that the court need not pay for it. Others, it can be a pay per use kind of a model. Correct?
That is correct. That is correct.
Okay. Yeah, because you already have legal databases which lawyers routinely use,
which we pay for,
which you pay for, and it is on a subscription model.
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
So any questions so far? So can you all still see my screen, or have I stopped sharing? I thought I stopped sharing. मेरी screen दिख रही है जी?
नहीं सर, नहीं दिख रही.
Okay.
स्क्रीन नहीं दिख रही है.
दिख रही है.
नहीं, वो तो
अच्छा वो आप तो दिख रहे हो लेकिन स्क्रीन नहीं आ रहा.
Okay. Allow to share window. Allow to share screen. So maybe I'll share my screen. Entire screen. Chalo, entire screen doesn't matter. So I think I can share my screen, right? So हम जैसे so here is how I feel that we will be able to use systems going forward. कि एक दो तरीके के रहेंगे. एक आपके एक्सटर्नल एजेंसी रहेगी, like an agent marketplace. It's like a marketplace you go for 29A or PUFA or valuation. These are the professionals we use externally. Now, just like we have these professionals, we also will have agents, professional agents, who will do some bit of homework for you over and above the professionals that you will engage. These agents will generate reports for you, and these reports actually can be generated or can be asked for by you or can be asked for by those professionals themselves. But no matter whether you ask for these reports or they ask for these reports, the agents will generate the reports, which will be a staging area for you to verify the flags that it will create. Now, why do we need agents, or why do we need these reports anyway? Because only they can generate these reports. Why can't we generate these reports? Because they are not humanly possible to generate. Why are they not humanly possible to generate these reports? So let's take an example of 29A. You give me a SIN number, and I give you a report. And the report is essentially on that one entity. But the law says, give me all the connected entities. Now, connected entities, besides the family near dear ones, there are related companies, related directors. And not only that, you've got a tree of a CD, meaning the CD has so from a SIN, you get 5 DINs. From each DIN will have 5 SINs. Each SIN will have. So let's assume we go to level 3 of depth and no more. Otherwise, we can keep going. I mean, we experimented with we asked the software, he says, where does the SIN DIN loop stop? So we thought that after 5 or 10 or 15 loops, it'll say, ho gaya, there are no more connected parties left. But it said, sorry, I can keep going on and on. We said, we don't want to go that far. So essentially, we stop at level 3. But even at level 3, you've got some 200-300 entities to be looked at. Now, if you start asking for these reports on 200-300 entities, one, it's not gonna be who's gonna pay for it. And because each report will become a 500-page report, and each report itself will become 50,000 or maybe 1 lakh rupees each. And you have 10 or 20 or 30 PRAs, so you got each report on 30 PRAs. So it's now if we say, oh no, just give us a report on one or two entities, we are okay with it. Just put in your stamp and signature so that I can throw the blame on you. Now IBBI is not going to listen to that. They're going to say, sorry, what does the law say? The law says all related entities. All could mean infinite. And is it even possible to run? How do we check all these infinite parties, if not 200-300? So we need a system which will do at least 200-300, which will do it under 29A, A to J on all the 200-300 parties, and yet cost me no more than 50,000, 25,000. Because who's going to pay for it? The COC just might say it's your job. It's all inclusive. It's included in your fees because it's your job. And in any case, if it's 20-30 and even at 25,000, even then a bill of 5 lakh will still be there at the very least. If you don't do that, you breach law. And IBBI comes after you sooner or later. So how do we do it? You got to have AI to do it, but you got to have agents, and agents will go online and do some magic and then somehow do it. So this is just one example. Likewise, everybody's coming up with the resolution plans, and you need to verify the plans. And if something is not right, you ask him to change the plan. It doesn't even, not only changes the paragraph 1, it makes changes to paragraph 20 and 30 in a small 2-liner here and there, which you would not even get to see isme kya plus minus hua. And if that plan gets approved, Then you say it was not there in version 1, but it was there in version 3. Why did you not go through version 3? So, unless you bring in these systems and you bring in, only they will be able to identify all these things. So if I were to give you a quick overview of what a report looks like. So for example, actually I shouldn't be showing this to you. This is I can't really show that. But anyway, what I can do is, right now the reports that I have are all proprietary, confidential, so I can't really even show them to you. But in case somebody is interested, and if somebody wants to give it a try, give me a SIN number or something. Even if you, if you can make it public, then I can show you what a report looks like. Alternatively, you can, I can run a free report or two for all of us, and there are just 39 of us, in case you want to see what a report. But the point is that we do have systems which are doing some of the work. The other ones are in the making, and we can even demo it. पूछिए सर, कोई सवाल पूछिए.
Sir, it will be better if you can show some practical examples, because we understood the theory, and like 29A agent is looking very promising. It will solve our problem. So can we use any AI tool like ChatGPT, Gemini for this, or some specific tools?
No. That though you have to see. You have to. So there are two things. One is there is a model, and then there is an agent. An agent, you tell an agent what to do. Then model is like a brain. So agent has, okay, let me put it this way. Agent has hands, legs, and brain. The model is the brain. The agent is the whole body. The hands and the legs are like tools. So you have to give him the tools and the brain in order to do a full function. Tools could be going online and getting data from the internet. So it goes around figuring out, मैंने सेबी में जाके कुछ ढूंढना है, इधर उधर जाके जहां से भी ढूंढना है उसको बताया. Those are the tools it has. So it does these things. It gets all the information, gives it to the brain. The brain makes sense out of the information it has received, and the brain creates a report. So there's a brain, there is agent, there are tools. Of course, there's memory and other fancy things, but we'll not go there. So when you say that I will ask something, you only have access to the brain. When you talk to Chat GPT or Claude, you are talking directly to the brain. You say, brain, मेरे को इसका जवाब देना, वो दे देता है. आप उसको बोलो, अच्छा, some brains also have tools now built in, which says we will go online and we will find something for you. Now you can actually try and do that. You can make a prompt. It has to be a long prompt saying, okay, I make a 29-day report for me. Go to SEBI, go to RBI, go to MCA, go to this, go to that, and pick this data and put it together and give me a report. Now, it will partially do the job for you. It will do the job. It will say, मैं यहाँ गया, मेरे को कुछ मिला नहीं. उसको कुछ मिलेगा, कुछ नहीं मिलेगा, क्योंकि आपने कोई API calls तो है नहीं, कोई ऐसा कुछ standardized data नहीं है. डेटा कोई PDF के अंदर पड़ा हुआ है, कोई स्कैंड है, कभी कुछ है, तो वो तो हर अच्छा एक चीज ढूंढने के लिए वो सारे PDFs को पहले स्कैन करेगा, फिर उनको फिर किसी डेटाबेस में डालेगा, फिर डेटाबेस में से फिर एक इंडेक्स बना के उसमें सर्च करेगा. उसके अंदर फिर रमेश चंद्र के 4 नाम निकलेंगे. फिर ये रमेश चंद्र वो रमेश चंद्र है कि नहीं है, वो कैसे पता चलेगा? उसका दिन उसके दिन से मिलेगा, उसका तो दिन है ही नहीं उसके पास. तो ये, so it gets very complicated. But theoretically, you can go to the brain and say, you have the tools, go do something for me. So it can do only something. Now, if you need a specific brain or an agent to do specific task, you have to give him proper tools. Literally, you have to make those tools for him. You'll say, here is a spanner, here is a screwdriver, here is a hammer. You use this here, you use that here, and you have to ensure that all the tools are working properly before it ends up using those tools. You give him a screwdriver, it can't use a big one for an iPhone. It requires a very thin one. So what is the size of this? So there are a whole lot of things that go within before you make an agent actually get the outcome that you want. But theoretically speaking, you can even today go to ChatGPT and say, make me a report. It'll make a report. But it'll make a report, you'll say, ये कोई report है, और वो गलती से report कहीं जमा करा दी, तो they'll say hallucinate हो गया, ये हो गया. तो होगा ही, because it's not meant to do that job.
Great.
But then how to develop an agent on ChatGPT?
So again, I repeat, ChatGPT is the brain. You will make an agent on a particular agentic framework. अब हम कंप्यूटर साइंस में जा रहे हैं थोड़ा. वो जो है एजेंटिक फ्रेमवर्क जो होगा, उसमें आप एजेंट बनाओगे, उसको टूल दोगे, उसको वर्कफ्लो दोगे, उसको ये सब कुछ दोगे, उसको डेटा तैयार करके दोगे, और उसके अंदर उसको जो ब्रेन दोगे वो आप चैट जीपीटी दे सकते हो, कोई और भी दे सकते हो. यू गिव हिम एनी ब्रेन and then it will use all those things to give you the output. So that is why you will not be able to do everything yourself, especially in this domain of pure tech. हमने टेक्नोलॉजी में नहीं जाना. हमारा काम है कि हमें ऐसी रिपोर्ट बन के दो जो लॉ के मुताबिक हो, और प्राइस ठीक हो, और depth ठीक हो, or flagging, whatever, it's the best of the best, so that you can then embed that report in your workflow, whatever that workflow is. I mean, अगर आप उसको normally जैसे रिपोर्ट आती है आपके पास, आप क्या करते हो, उसी तरह से ये जब रिपोर्ट आएगी तो आप उस रिपोर्ट के साथ क्या कुछ कर सकोगे, क्या कुछ करना चाहिए, और उसको फिर अपने वर्कफ्लो में डाल के आप अपने रेजोल्यूशन में resolution के लिए कैसे यूज कर सकते हो. That's the part. So there are two distinct parts. The first is the agentic output, and the second is the professional output. The agentic output feeds the professional. The professional uses that report properly. अभी भी हम यही कर रहे हैं, बस except that अभी जो रिपोर्ट बन रही है वो agentic ना होके वो कुछ और है. अभी भी तो हम 29 की रिपोर्ट किससे बनवाते हैं. तो उसके बाद हम क्या करते हैं, रिपोर्ट आती है, हम अपने पास रखते हैं, हम उसके ऊपर एप्लीकेशन बना के या जो भी है उसको साथ में अटैच करके हम उसको आगे बोलते हैं, लो जी, व्हाटएवर यू फील. एक्सेप्ट दैट the report that is coming to you is a human report. Here the report that is going to come to you is going to be an agentic report. Now, what is the difference between a human and an agentic report? What does it look like? And why should you go in for one over the other is something that you have to see it yourself. If I could demo it to you, and if you could appreciate the difference and identify why is it critical for you to use agentic report, and maybe use the professional to verify that agentic report, or let him make his report. Then you sort of compare, and maybe you ask him to enhance his report based on this report. So literally, मगर ये डबल काम हम क्यों करें? क्योंकि आने वाले समय में हमारे पास जिस तरह की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, या जो टाइमलाइंस हैं, या जो भी है, वो हमें करना ही पड़ेगा, इन शॉर्ट.
तो अभी जो आप शो कर रहे थे, जिसको आप शो नहीं कर पाए थे बिकॉज कॉन्फिडेंस रीजन, तो ऑलरेडी एजेंट है, आपने उसी एजेंट को यूज किया होगा ना? हाँ,
वो दैट इज, हाँ, बोलो.
Those agent we can buy.
Yes, in fact, eventually, just like you can't buy the agent because agent is
But
running
by
on a
me that that
the
software,
report,
whatever
the
it is, yeah.
report, the report.
Yeah.
It's like आप किसी से report खरीदते हो, Signal X से खरीदते हो या किसी से भी
Right.
खरीदते हो,
Right.
so it is like that only. Except
Mhm.
that let me see if I can show you some kind of report. कुछ दिखाना तो पड़ेगा. हाँ.
Give us some practical thing.
I know,
So
but I'm trying to safeguard my this thing because I hold on. Let me
we all can give undertaking not to disclose it anywhere.
verbally on the phone. नहीं ठीक है, एक सेकंड रुकिए, मैं दिखाने की कोशिश करता हूँ. क्यों वैसे ये रिपोर्ट को इतनी भी वो नहीं है क्योंकि ये रिपोर्ट बनी पब्लिक डेटा से है. अब पब्लिक डेटा से ही रिपोर्ट बनी है, तो इट्स नॉट के कोई दिस नॉट दिस थिंग एक्सेप्ट के यू नेवर नो all type of people. Just a second. Okay.
सर चार्ट जीपीटी में भी एक फैसिलिटी है ना, एक मैं यही बोल रहा हूँ, चार्ट जीपीटी में एक फैसिलिटी है जो कि एक एजेंट डेवलप करके कुछ काम करवाने के लिए.
हाँ, वो कहता है कि मैं एजेंट बनाता
Co-work, sir? Co-work?
Sir.
You mean to say that co-work?
No, हाँ, co-work is, so what is happening is
Co-work
that
in cloud.
all these companies are also claiming that you can make agents over there. But see, these agents are not simple agents. Those agents are very simple agents. I mean, आप एक आधा बना के देखना, उसमें there is nothing much you'll be able to do. It'll say एक agent है, मेरे को रोज न्यूज कंपाइल करके दे दो, तो वो दे देगा. मगर वो जो हम मांग रहे हैं, जो हमें चाहिए, वो तो naturally it requires a whole lot of things. And plus, yeah, so it's not going to be as simple as that. Let me show
सर जो
you.
29A रिपोर्ट है, आप क्या ज्यादा देते हैं? 29A रिपोर्ट तो भी आपको भी इसी से ढूंढना पड़ेगा ना.
हाँ, तो लेकिन क्या है ना, दो तरीके हैं ना. The system has already, just a sec. Just a second, let me show you. क्योंकि ऐसे पता नहीं चलेगा ना, without, if you don't see it, then you'll not know. Hold on, let me now share this window. Okay. So you can see this report, right? दिख रहा है जी मेरा screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So for example, this is one entity and it's a director, it's a day insane, whatever, and it's doing a 29A check. It's able to check for imprisonment, undischarged, proclaimed offender. And not only does it tell you, but there's an AI narrative which says कि इसका क्या issue हो सकता है. Director disqualification है, willful default है, ये है, वो है. So those kind of things, it's running on all 500 different entities in one go.
ये क्या सर स्टैंड एलोन सॉफ्टवेयर है क्या?
नहीं, स्टैंड एलोन सॉफ्टवेयर नहीं है ये. स्टैंड एलोन सॉफ्टवेयर इन द सेंस के, दोबारा से लेट मी से, अभी के लिए अगर किसी को, आप में से किसी को रिपोर्ट चाहिए हो, वेदर इट्स प्लान वेरिफिकेशन और इफ यू वांट टू आइडेंटिफाई इन्वेस्टर्स और इफ यू वांट टू डू 29A, आप मेरे को डीएम करिए. मैं इसके अंदर ना, वी कैन ऑल जॉइन. देयर वाज अ WhatsApp
नहीं
group
सर,
I had.
मेरे को सर, आई एम सिंपल आस्किंग द क्वेश्चन, इफ
बोलिए.
इट इज prepared through some AI, and
Yes.
how it is used. If it is standalone software, then we do not have any option. But if it is done through some AI, then we must be trained. We must be trained ourselves to act through that.
So there are two options. For example, let me put it this way. For example, I make these reports for you. So you will get me to sign an NDA, give me the details, and I will make the reports. Just like a third party. The report that will come to you will be then used by you in another software that I will provide, which has AI enabled, जो इस रिपोर्ट को AI के साथ आपके साथ आगे चलेगा, लेकिन वो काम आपको करना पड़ेगा, वो कॉन्फिडेंशियल हो जाएगा. So I can only walk with you up to a particular limit. After that, I have to
सर
train
आप क्या
you.
करेंगे? सर आप क्या करेंगे? मैं यही समझ नहीं पा रहा हूँ सर, आप क्या करेंगे?
मैं आपको रिपोर्ट बना के दूंगा. Let's put it this way. और उसके बाद जो होना चाहिए, देखिए ये these are all this thing, that not only that, you all IPs will eventually have to be given some kind of a software which would be AI enabled, which will plug in these reports and actually help you take it forward. देखिए ना, दो तरीके हैं. It's your assignment. You have to run the case. There are other people who will help you. There'll be auditors which will help you to audit. 29 will help you 29. Marketing people will help you market and get your investors. Then there is people who, if you can trust, they'll do a plan verification, plan comparison.
Sir, when I am going to use AI, I want to be totally independent, except some statutory requirements. That is my requirement, sir. जो स्टैट्यूटरी रिक्वायरमेंट है, स्टैट्यूटरी जो सपोज वैल्यूअर्स, वो तो अलग है, मेरे को लेना पड़ेगा. लेकिन जहां मेरे को ये सब काम करना है, if I am using AI, then I should be an independent person. I should not dependent on others.
Exactly. क्योंकि आप डिपेंडेंट हो ही नहीं सकते, क्योंकि वो सारा इंफॉर्मेशन ही आपके पास कॉन्फिडेंशियल है, आप किसी और को दे ही नहीं सकते. तो वो आपको एक इंडिपेंडेंट एस्पेक्ट है और एक डिपेंडेंट एस्पेक्ट है. जो तो स्टैट्यूटरी चीजें चाहिए वो आप बाहर से लोगे, जो आपको लोग बाहर वाले बना के देंगे वो अपना AI का इस्तेमाल करेंगे और उस AI की जिम्मेवारी उनकी रहेगी. और वो जो रिपोर्ट बना के देंगे वो नेचुरली अगर AI बनाएगी तो अभी तक की जितनी भी रिपोर्टें आपके पास आई हैं उन सबसे हटके अच्छी, डिटेल्ड, व्हाटएवर लीगली कंप्लायंट. वो रिपोर्ट जब आपके पास आएंगी, वो रिपोर्ट्स को आप अपने मैनुअल तरीके से यूज कर सकते हो या AI के साथ यूज कर सकते हो. वो AI आपने अपने आप अपने घर पे यूज करना है, एज इन योर ओन लैपटॉप, योर ओन ऑफिस. तो वो जब आप अपने ऑफिस में यूज करोगे तो वो AI आप कौन सा यूज करोगे और उसको कैसे रन करोगे, उसका जो है that is something which we have figured out for ourselves, because हम कहीं बाहर नहीं जाते. हमारा वो जो ब्रेन है which runs a small model, it runs on our own local machines. उसके लिए आप बाहर नहीं जाना, आपको चैट GPT वगैरह के पास जाके पूछना नहीं है, वो लोकल आपके पास ओलामा है, बहुत सारी चीजें. That's a different webinar altogether. That webinar would be how to use AI for IPs internally for their internal processes. Okay, na? So that is a different webinar we have to get into. And for example, मैं आपको दिखाता हूँ, अगर शायद यहाँ पे दोबारा दिखा सकूँ. So there are actually systems that we are using, even you guys can use if you want. हाँ जी अनिल जी.
Would you, one fellow is asking, would you show something how to make the AI agent so then he can use it that one and use for personal use?
सर आपको AI एजेंट बनाना नहीं है. आपको देखो, ध्यान से देखो, आपको क्या करना है. AI एजेंट मेरे को बनाना है क्योंकि मेरे को रिपोर्ट बनानी है. मैं रिपोर्ट हाथ से बनाऊं, देख के बनाऊं, मैनुअल बनाऊं, एजेंट बनाऊं, वो एक हो गया एजेंट वाला का. आपको रिपोर्ट्स को लेके आपको एक्चुअल में तो प्रोसेस रन करना है. प्रोसेस के साथ बेसिकली जो हम अभी एक्सपेरिमेंट कर रहे हैं, आपको एक कम्युनिकेशन इज द मेजर इशू, एंड देन इज द मीटिंग्स, ठीक है, एंड हाउ डू यू मैनेज द ऑपरेशंस ऑफ द सिटी। तो आपको ये चीजें करने के लिए एजेंट की जरूरत नहीं है। आपको क्या चाहिए?
No. We are asking is we have to be concentrated on the particular thing. I want to make a report of, you'd say 29A, है ना?
आप नहीं बना पाओगे।
नहीं, I know, but you are saying that you have to be use the AI agent for
Correct.
making these ones. So
Correct.
our simple question is that would you show us how you are making the AI agent for a particular purpose?
सर
सर
Okay.
एआई एजेंट बनाना कोई एक कोर कंप्यूटर साइंस है क्या? जो
हाँ है, लेट्स पुट इट दिस वे, ठीक है ना?
पूरा फुल्ली कंप्यूटर साइंस, कोर कंप्यूटर साइंस है तो ठीक है सर, लेकिन
पूरा वो तो कंप्यूटर साइंस है।
लेकिन ये थ्रू प्रॉम्प्ट ये बना सकते हैं, तो हम बनाना चाहते हैं क्योंकि हम हमारा लॉजिक देना चाहते हैं। वी वांट टू गिव आवर ओन लॉजिक एंड वी वांट टू प्रिपेयर इन आवर ओन वे, then we will check it by ourselves and we will see whether it is correct or not. But if it is totally core computer science studies, then it is beyond our
Yeah.
scope.
So there are two issues. One, it is getting into computer science. ये जितना आसान से बोल रहे हैं ना, ये जितनी कंपनीज हैं, एजेंट बना लो, ये कर लो, वो कर लो, they are marketing themselves because they are all trying to get into valuation. IPOs निकालना है, $1 trillion की valuation है, तो they are telling you all those things. But when you actually get down to doing it, you realize that it's a rabbit hole. It gets very deep. One, you will not be able to get into agent making thing. You can experiment it. आप ऑनलाइन जाके बोलो एजेंट बना दे, वो बना देगा। आप बोलो ये कर, वो कर, आप उसको बोलो ये बनाने की कोशिश कर, देखते हैं वो क्या बनाता है। You will find के it'll stumble at so many places. That is when you will begin to realize कि it is a different ball game altogether. सिंपल सी चीज 2 मिनट में हो जाती है, थोड़ी सी कॉम्प्लिकेशन लाओगे तो पूरा इट्स अ डिफरेंट बॉल।
Sir, we saw we see the AI assistant.
हाँ,
But they are a particular information. If you search any site, so they are asking for what you want. So they are giving answer only. Very simple. But wherein the AI agent is concerned, we want a particular report and a particular way and for particular purpose. But
नहीं, आप कंफ्यूज ये हो रहे हो। पर्टिकुलर रिपोर्ट, पर्टिकुलर लॉजिक, आपका इतना नहीं चाहिए लॉजिक। अरे 29 के अंदर लॉजिक कहाँ है? 29 में ए से आई तक
I am not.
Sir, I
am
think if I can, Anil ji, if I can paraphrase what the query is.
Yeah.
For 29A, how
Yeah.
should we design the query which is in line with the regulation and the code, and at the same time satisfies, so from a guardrail perspective, that I think
Correct.
is what we need to understand.
So let's everybody can see Gemini here.
Yeah.
Okay. So मैं इसको बोलता हूँ make me a 29A verification report, ठीक है, on a sample on any public, ऐसे बोल देते हैं, any public company, make sure it is fully
In compliance with the section 29A of IBC
बिल्कुल ठीक है,
2016.
बिल्कुल 29A of IBC 2016
and amendments thereafter.
cover all, हाँ जी, and amendments thereafter, ऐसे बोलते हैं, दिखते हैं, amendments thereafter, ensure that you cover all the sub clauses A to whatever I है कि J है, I think J है, whatever, ठीक है जी। Let's see what it does. So this is, we are talking to the brain. There is no agent here, although the brain has the brain has a has tools. और ये मेरे को पढ़ाई ये क्या करा रहा है? ओके, कहता है ये रहा विक्टोरिया हॉस्पिटैलिटी है, इसका वेरिफिकेशन मैं कर दिया हूँ, ये प्रियम्बल है, ये हम ये वाला पढ़ रहे हैं, राइट? सो और वेंचर्स है, ये है ए का उसने देखा, लेट्स पुट दिस ओके, लेट्स पुट दैट. So he says it's undischarged insolvent, कहता जी एलिजिबल है, ये सब एलिजिबल उसने कर दिया इसने, ठीक है? रिपोर्ट बना दी है, मगर इसने कहाँ से चेक किया है वो नहीं बताया. अनडिस्चार्ज इंसॉल्वेंट, वेरीफाइड फाइंडिंग, ये he has just made a format of what a report looks like, and इसने ये सब अपने आप hallucinate किया. The PA doesn't hold any account classification. This is all hallucination. It's not checking. ये कह रहा है जी obtain self certification affidavit. No individual promoter or key management has been convicted of any offense punishable. So essentially, what I asked him, okay, so maybe I should give him a specific SIN number. Let's put it this way.
No. Then I think we should upload the financials of a 29A company or the particulars of the board of directors, and then they ask him, okay, now this is the data, now let me know.
Exactly. पर उसको अनडिस्चार्ज इंसॉल्वेंट वहां से भी नहीं मिलेगा, विलफुल डिफॉल्टर फिर भी नहीं मिलेगा, अकाउंट
मुझे लगता है
फिर नहीं मिलेगा. हाँ जी,
मुझे लगता है इसमें अगर आप ये भी डाल दें कि मेंशन द लिंक फ्रॉम वेयर यू हैव टेकन द इंफॉर्मेशन.
और बताइए इसमें एडिट प्रॉम्प्ट करते हैं. मेंशन द लिंक्स वेयर यू हैव ऑब्टेन्ड दिस डेटा फ्रॉम, और बोलिए. दैट्स इट आई गेस. ये कंपनी है भी कि नहीं? ये कंपनी भी इसने अपने आप बनाई है. Maybe we should give him a specific company. Cell number. Any company, any public company. So let's pick this. Don't even know what this company is. And the SIN number is, for example, this. Okay, let's see what it does. So इसने अपने आप बोला कि जी ये अनडिस्चार्ज इंसॉल्वेंट मैंने चेक कर लिया है, ये he's compliant, no disqualification, no, everything is clean. So there's no disqualification of whatsoever. Maybe it is true.
But we have to ask the regulation applicant the particular information. You have to give the declaration and affidavit and the score of like that.
हाँ, तो अब आप उसको डॉक्यूमेंट्स देने लगोगे ना. अगर आप इसको डॉक्यूमेंट दोगे तो फिर तो आपने एक्सटर्नल सोर्सेस से इसको डॉक्यूमेंट्स दिया, तो डॉक्यूमेंट समराइजेशन, उसकी रीफ्रेमिंग हो गई. इट्स नॉट डूइंग द कोर एक्चुअल आइडेंटिफिकेशन ऑफ ईच प्रॉब्लम. आपने उसको सिबिल का उसका रिपोर्ट दिया, उसका बोला देखना, वो बोलेगा हाँ सिबिल क्लियर है. आपने बोला सेबी का रिपोर्ट दिया, उसने बोला सेबी में गड़बड़ है. तो आप रिपोर्ट देते जाओ, वो उसको पढ़ के बताता रहेगा. वो रिपोर्ट आप दे रहे हो और आप एक एंटिटी पे दे रहे हो. अब आप इनके जो आगे रिलेटेड पार्टीज हैं उन सबकी सिबिल वेबिल तो होगी नहीं किसी के पास, हो तो इस कंपनी की भी नहीं होगी. So what you get from here, and this is what hallucination is. If you were to use this, तो ये तो हर एक को नॉन कंप्लाइंट, ये तो हर एक को कंप्लाइंट बोल रहा है. इसने वहां जाके कुछ चेक थोड़ी ना किया, इसने एमसीए के अंदर जाके चेक थोड़ी ना किया. इसने तो यहाँ पे इसने लिखा है कि 164 में ये है वो है, मगर इसने यहाँ पे तो कुछ भी नहीं किया।
सर एमसीए में जाने के लिए तो पैसा देना पड़ेगा ना इसको।
देयर यू गो, देयर यू गो। एमसीए के अंदर एमसीए में जाने के लिए पैसा देना। तो जो
तो
टूल
पैसा कहाँ से
है,
देगा ये पैसे कहाँ से देगा?
हाँ फिर नहीं देगा, इसको एपीआई चाहिए। अच्छा एपीआई का तो ये है कि एमसीए एपीआई देता ही नहीं है। एमसीए के अगर मेरे को एमसीए से डेटा चाहिए, या तो मैं हाथ से कैप्चा डाल डाल के एक एक करके निकालूं, या फिर मैं किसी और थर्ड पार्टी को दूं। वो बोलेगा 500-500 की रिपोर्ट ले लो मुझसे, सपोजिंग। अब सबकी रिपोर्ट लोगे वो जनरल रिपोर्ट होगी, वो 29A रिपोर्ट नहीं होगी। अगर आप वो भी दोगे तो फिर भी नहीं, मतलब यू सी
बट इट विल असिस्ट ना, यू प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर 29A है ना
सर। 29 असिस्ट तो सिर्फ ये फॉर्मेट से रहा, आपका उसने चिट्ठी बना दी, लेकिन ये इसके अंदर यहाँ पे क्या डालना है, यहाँ पे मदद नहीं कर पा रहा। So far as formatting is concerned and so far as this thing is concerned, ग्रेड ग्रुड उसने बना दिया, बहुत अच्छा, सब ठीक बनाएगा।
नहीं एक्चुअली वी आर क्या नाम है एक्सपेक्टिंग टू मच फ्रॉम द एआई कि एवरीथिंग बना के दे दे लड्डू हमारे को। वी डोंट पुट एनीथिंग ऑन दैट है।
इसमें
You know the AI company is heavily investing in AI, billions or trillions of billions of rupees, and we are want free everything.
हाँ, so what we have done is, I think somebody is
సంతకాలు చేయించావా? అది సంతకాలు చేయించావా అంటున్నా.
श्रेणु जी आप म्यूट करिए अपने आप को। हाँ ओके गुड। So as you see this is all it does. So even if you go over here and you say यहाँ पे कहीं लिखा होगा एजेंट वेजेंट भी लिखा होगा, लेकिन आप उसको बोलो बनाएगा तो उससे बनेगा नहीं, मतलब आप कहाँ से शुरू करोगे? So what I'm saying is that you have to train. So even if you see what they are talking about is over here, you have to train. So if we say training, this is chalo human training हो गई, innovation over restraint is one thing. Where is the training part? Capacity building, training, review of training program, model, go to model. Functions, definition, engagement, summary. Okay, let's go to definitions. Inside definitions, if we were to go to provider, system tools, so AI refers to a machine-based system that infers, it learns, generates decision predictions, recommendations from data with various degrees of autonomy. ठीक है। और अगर हम इधर देखें, ब्लैक बॉक्स तो हमें ठीक है, ब्रेन कैसे चल रहा है हमें नहीं मालूम, और कोट डेटा, कोट प्रोसेस, what am I looking for? Data minimization, explainability, ये देखिए। Yeah. So he says, by virtue of contract, who designs, develops, trains, fine tunes, integrates an AI system. So this designing, development, training, fine tuning, integration, these things together make one agent. Here we have done no designing, training or anything. हमने तो सवाल पूछा, उसने जवाब दिया. So और यहाँ पे अगर आपने पूछना है जैसे how to, और यहाँ पे पूछते हैं let's say how to make an agent, और यहाँ पे इसको पूछते हैं I want to make an agent. I want to make an agent for 29A verification. ठीक है? How do I do? Let's see. Okay. ये है जी जो एजेंट है. अगर आपने बनाना है तो ऐसे बना सकते हो. वो कहता है वेरिफिकेशन एजेंट इज अ ब्रिलियंट वे टू ऑटोमेट वन ऑफ द मोस्ट टीडियस. ठीक है, आर्किटेक्चर ब्लूप्रिंट. ठीक है, वो कहता है कि नॉलेज ग्राफ को कंस्ट्रक्ट करो. आप पहले यहां से सारे सामान उठा के नॉलेज ग्राफ बनाओ एक. फिर उसके बाद आप रेगुलेटरी सर्च करो, सिबिल विबिल के सारे ऑर्डर्स वगैरह सर्च करो, उनको भी इकट्ठा करो. फिर उन सब पे आप कॉग्निटिव रीजनिंग और ग्रिड मैपिंग करके आप ए से लेके जे तक आप कंप्लायंस बनाओ. That's it. That's how you make an agent. And you can ask this question for any agent. स्टेप बाय स्टेप इम्प्लीमेंटेशन देखिए. वो कह रहा है कि कनेक्टेड पर्सन का पहले तो कनेक्टेड पर्सन इकोसिस्टम से निकालो. आप सिर्फ एप्लीकेंट को नहीं ढूंढ रहे, आप सारे वेब को ढूंढ रहे हो, उसके साथ जितने कनेक्टेड बंदे हैं सबको ढूंढ रहे हो. तो आप पहले कनेक्टेड पर्सन की एक लिस्ट निकालो. कहाँ से निकालोगे? अपने आप देखो. हाउ टू बिल्ड. फिर आप कहते हैं मास्टर डेटा को स्क्रैप करो एमसीए से. एमसीए आपको करने ही नहीं दे रहा, एनईएसएल आपको करने नहीं दे रहा, एमसीए आ नहीं रहा. प्रोब 24 में जाओ, जोबा पे जाओ. ठीक है जी, प्रोब यहाँ जाओ, यहाँ से आप मास्टर डेटा लो, फिर डायरेक्टर्स लो, की मैनेजमेंट पर्सनल लो, और शेयर होल्डिंग पैटिंग वैटिंग सारा निकाल के आप इकट्ठा करो. ओके. देन ही सेज यू मेक अ रिट्रीवल नेटवर्क. ही सेज आप नॉलेज ग्राफ बनाओ और सारी एंटिटीज को आपस में जोड़ के फिर आप उसके अंदर से यहाँ पे सिबिल से डिफॉल्ट निकालो, एनपीए जो हैं वो क्रेडिट रजिस्ट्रीज से डेटा लो, फिर ऑर्डर्स जो हैं एनसीएलटी के सारे डेटा लो, और सिलेनियम और प्ले राइट वगैरह यूज करके आप उसके अंदर से पूफे का जो भी ट्रांजैक्शंस हैं क्लॉज डी और जी निकालो. फिर एमसीए से सिग्नेटरी वगैरह चेक करो, फिर सिबिल से डिबार्ड की लिस्ट चेक करो, और फिर इन सब के ऊपर रीजनिंग करो. रीजनिंग के अंदर डिटर्मिनिस्टिक वैलिडेशन जो है वो आप चेक करो कि पक्का है. देन एलएलएम, यहाँ पे आपका सिर्फ ब्रेन का काम है अभी. दी चैट जीपीटी इज ओनली कमिंग ओवर हियर. ही सेज उसके बाद आप उसके अंदर ये ढूंढो कि अगर कोई कुछ है तो वो उसका मीनिंग हमें ढूंढ के दे, उसको इंग्लिश में हमें समझाए. सो दैट्स द एलएलएम पार्ट. कोड भी उसने दे दिया कि जी आप ऐसे करके कोड बनाओ, आप इसको कोड को रन करो, और लोकल फर्स्ट करना है तो प्रिवेसी करना है तो आप अपने लोकल मशीन पे करो, और ह्यूमन इन द लूप का जो मैंडेट है उसको फॉलो करो. दैट्स इट. यू कैन आल्सो डू इट. But what I'm trying to say is that this becomes a computer science problem. It looks like a legal problem, but it's a computer science. It has databases, memory, indexes, scraping, whole lot of things. LLM. अच्छा, जो LLM हम यहाँ इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं, यहाँ पे तो हाथ से तो डाल सकते हो. कंप्यूटर में डालने के लिए आपको खरीदना पड़ेगा. यहाँ तक तो ठीक है, लेकिन अगर आपने इसको प्रोग्रामेटिकली इसको कॉल करना है, then that is not allowed. Then that is an API call. Then you have to get into a जो अभी लोग इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं, that's a $200 per month.
Sir, actually, if you are making the AI for your purpose, you have to be purchase the chip वगैरह chip.
नहीं, वो तो आपको अगर रन करना है, अगर आपको रन करना है लोकली तो आपको चिप चाहिए. चिप का मतलब अभी जो आया है, NVIDIA ने अपना निकाला है, that NVIDIA laptop is worth 5 lakhs. पहले तो वो हो गया।
NVIDIA
फिर
is very costly.
NVIDIA क्या, आप Apple देख लो, वो भी अभी M5 आ रहा है उनका Mac Mini. So that is also, मतलब the question is, if you run it locally, that's one cost. If you run it on the cloud, that's another cost. That is running your model. Then API costs and this cost and that cost. मतलब आपने 25-50 हजार की रिपोर्ट के पीछे, मतलब पूरी, you'll have to open a complete organization related to IT.
सर हम आपको मांगेंगे तो आप एक बार हमको तैयार करके दे देंगे एजेंट, उसका बाद हमको जितना बार यूज करना है हम लोग करेंगे।
हाँ,
और
yes,
हर
that is
बार
also.
क्यों आपका पास जाएंगे कि सर मेरे को रिपोर्ट दीजिए,
सर
रिपोर्ट
ऐसा है
दीजिए।
ना,
हाँ।
एजेंट जो पीछे ब्रेन और टूल्स यूज कर रहा है ना,
हम्म।
उसके पीछे पूरा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है। एजेंट इज नॉट अ स्मॉल प्रोग्राम यू रनिंग ऑन योर लैपटॉप। आपको एजेंट लग रहा है कि छोटी सी चीज है, आपने लैपटॉप में डाली, उसको बोला चल भाई, वो कहता चलो जी। इज अ होल थिंग, इट्स अ वेरी बिग थिंग। इतना आसान नहीं है। इतना आसान है तो फिर तो चैट जीपीटी को पूछ पूछ सारा है, उसको बोल रिजॉल्व कर दे, वो कर देगा। अब उसको बोलो मेक मी अ रेजोल्यूशन, रिजॉल्व कंपनी नंबर सो एंड सो फॉर मी, वो शुरू हो जाएगा, अपने आप बनाएगा, अपने आप करे जो करना है। यहाँ पे तो
Yes,
सर,
so much. If you when you are going for a kind of a, if you are going for tailor made, so it is very cheap. When you are going for a special or a specific, it will cost you most cost. It will be too much cost for you.
no. The only way to do it is to become a complete agent marketplace where you give out agents reports. You don't sell agents. So agents are not. I'm not selling an agent. तुम्हें आपको एजेंट लेके क्या करना है? आपको रिपोर्ट बनवानी है ना उस।
नहीं सर, सर
तो
एजेंट्स
अगर
बनाने
मैं
के लिए भी
बोलूं
तो आपको, if you
एजेंट को,
want to make a
सिर्फ,
agent,
हाँ एजेंट इज नॉट, हाँ बनाना एक चीज है, उसको फिर आपको
सर
अपडेट करना है, उसको मॉनिटर करना है। डेटाबेसेस चेंज हो रहे हैं, रोज के रोज नए ऑर्डर आ रहे हैं। डेटाबेस कहाँ है?
सर मेरा मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि इफ यू वांट अ सिक्रेसी एंड यू डोंट वांट क्या नाम है, योर सिक्रेसी इज मेंटेनिंग, तो यू हैव, जैसे इंडिया इज आल्सो थिंकिंग फॉर मेक आवर एआई, डोंट यूज द अदर कंट्रीज एआई, बिकॉज व्हेन यू आर पुटिंग समथिंग दैट यू आर डिस्क्लोजिंग देयर, if you are put our AI and we use it, it will not disclose to anybody else, it will be the keep secret. Okay, if you are using the public platform, so then you will have to disclose everything.
That's what I'm saying ना, there are two things, that's what I explained. अभी भी आप 29A के लिए किसी को फोन करके उसको बोलते हो ना कि इस बंदे का 29A करके दे, तो आपने कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी तो वायलेट कर ही दी। लेकिन आप कहते हो नहीं, NDA साइन कर दे, तो आप बोलते हो ठीक है चल ये ले नंबर, सिन नंबर ले, इसके 29A बना। और 29A की जब वो रिपोर्ट बनाता है, वो नेचुरली पब्लिक डेटा से ढूंढ के बनाता है। Then what happens? He also has a copy, you also have a copy. Under NDA he will not disclose anyone, you have a copy, you keep it. अभी तक कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी एजेंट आपको किसी चीज की जरूरत नहीं पड़ी, आपने तो सिर्फ रिपोर्ट बनवाई। आपने देखा दो जने हैं, सस्ता कौन बनाता है, रिपोर्ट कौन अच्छी देता है, एंड ऑफ स्टोरी। आई डोंट केयर you use AI, use agent, it is irrelevant to that aspect. The question is कि जब आपको रिपोर्ट बन के आती है, आप उसको इस तरह से लेवरेज कर रहे हो, यूज कर रहे हो कि IBBI कल को आपको पूछे कि जी दिखाना आपने क्या किया, तो आप ये नहीं बोलो कि ये देखना जी, ये हमको तो यही मिला, उसने साइन किया, उसको पूछो। So you need a system which is IBBI inspection proof kind of thing. So it's not about AI, it's not about agents. At the end of the day, it's about resolution. It's about compliance. Let's not lose focus. ये टेक्नोलॉजी है, अगर आपको कुछ भी पूछना है, आप AI को जाके पूछो, पूरा समझा देगा, अच्छे ढंग से समझाएगा, मदद भी करेगा। लेकिन आप अगर उस तरफ बनाने चले तो फिर आप ये सब काम उधर ही चले जाएंगे। So ultimately, yeah. So the question is that there are two things. One is you have to depend upon certain service providers, which IBBI allows, which is ये सब service providers हैं, उसमें valuers, auditors, verification, verifiers, marketing, ये 4-5 तरह के लोग हैं जो आप इस्तेमाल करते हैं। अब ये इनमें से successful, non-successful is all what you have to see. So far as using AI internally for your processes, you will eventually have to run a local AI on your machine, and you also will have to have some kind of workflow to leverage it properly. तो एक तो ये तरीका है. दूसरा तरीका है जो आप अभी कर रहे हो, आपके पास रिपोर्ट आती है, आप रखते हो, आपको जो सवाल थोड़े बहुत पूछने हैं आपने चैट जीपीटी से पूछे, बाकी हमको जरूरत नहीं है, बाकी इट्स ऑल अबाउट, बाकी हमारा काम चल रहा है. देयर लॉयर्स हु डूइंग द who taking care of NCLT, then you've got managers who taking care of operations, and everything is running manually. So अभी के लिए एजेंट्स और आईपी की हम इसलिए बात एआई की कर रहे हैं क्योंकि अगर इतना ही सिंपलिस्टिक होता या जरूरत ना होती तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट को जरूरत नहीं पड़ती इतना लंबा रेगुलेशन देने की, और आईबीबीआई को भी. आई थिंक आईबीबीआई इवेंचुअली शुड and it will come up with regulations regulating whosoever is using AI, that if an IP uses AI ऐसे करेगा, और अगर थर्ड पार्टी या सर्विस प्रोवाइडर्स यूज कर रहे हैं तो वैसा करेंगे. तो वो डेटा कहाँ से लाएंगे? डेटा सब, there has to be some kind of an understanding of what is happening. Now, if you want to learn how to leverage AI internally for your internal processes, there are two ways. एक, या तो somebody standardizes the process and says, everybody please follow, this is how it is done. Everybody follows that process. Or since, or we are already, running our assignments in whatever manner we are, we continue to run it. We just बीच बीच में कोई सवाल पूछने हो तो इनको पूछ लो, कोई रिपोर्ट की समराइजेशन वगैरह चाहिए हो तो एक आप लोकल एआई को कर लो, अगर इफ यू वांट टू बी केयरफुल. अदरवाइज एज ऑफ नाउ वी आर आस्किंग जेमिनाई शेमिनाई को हम पूछ ही रहे हैं, तो जब तक हमें अपना कुछ नहीं होता, which is slightly dicey, it's not good. So one, you must learn how to run a local brain on your machine. That's one thing which we will eventually. But as of now, the laptops that you guys have, that we all have, are not capable of running it properly. They require bigger machines. That's what I said. The next machine you will buy probably will be running AI locally. So unless you want to spend a couple of lakh rupees buying a new machine, you can run it locally, or else for the time being, you do whatever you're doing. Sir, एक ना मैंने ग्रुप बनाया था. If we can all join that group, then I can put in certain redacted reports over here, and also we can start asking questions or something. Then it'll become easier. Is that a good idea?
So which group you are talking about, sir?
So there is WhatsApp पे है AI for IPs का ग्रुप बनाया था बहुत पहले. Let me show you over here if I can. Web. So while this loads, let me also give a little brainstorming of another thing. अभी जब हम we have all seen that if you have to do an FD in the bank, etc., or if you buy one of these life insurances, they give you a phone and you're supposed to look into the phone and show your photograph and say, I have read the terms and conditions, etc. You acknowledge that. Is that correct? Are we all aware?
Yes.
So now, and that is legally binding. Now, what we are also, I mean, this is how we can hasten the communication. आप WhatsApp पे लिंक भेजते हो अपने COC को, COC वो लिंक खोलती है, the person in charge shows his face and says whatever is written, that I am representing SBI and I am authorized, and this is I am this is I understand this is the 4th COC meeting dated so and so, whatever you want to. He says those things, and then some OTP वगैरह देने के बाद जब पक्का हो जाए कि ये बंदा वही है, फिर उसी समय उसके पास वोटिंग का पेज होता है, and he starts to vote. And after finishing, he votes another round of OTP or something. He says, and then whatever you want him to say. And that voting is based on WhatsApp. और वो रिपोर्ट वगैरह WhatsApp के ऊपर भी उसके साथ शेयर कर सकते हो, because ये तो करते ही हो. So why can't we do voting on WhatsApp? Run the entire voting process on WhatsApp. It's legally binding, and you don't have to do anything. That's question number one. And then if it's true for voting, why is it not true for a claim? You send a link to all the claimants, and they say, yes, I'm claimant so and so. They write whatever, and they can give their basics, and then they can upload their documents on WhatsApp. So सारे documents WhatsApp पे उसने आपको दे दिए, और आपका क्लेमेंट कंफर्म्ड है, वो कह रहा है, तो वैसे भी कोई ना कोई कह ही रहा होगा, वो अपना आधार कार्ड वगैरह वो बाद में भी चेक कर सकते हैं, अपना वो अपलोड करेगा. And then once we have the documents on your system, now I'm coming to your system, how your system could be running with AI. Okay, is then you can have on your dashboard, it's like a WhatsApp dashboard, इधर WhatsApp है, इधर ये है, आप वो आपके डॉक्यूमेंट्स को WhatsApp के अंदर जो AI है या कोई और AI है, वो समराइज करके आपको डिटेल बता रहा है, और आपको it's going through what the claim documents are. Why is that not possible? And if it is possible, then how much faster could these processes become? So there's quite an out-of-box thinking that is taking place in terms of AI and its use, etc. So that is how you can bring AI into your internal system, where you can use it for summarization and certain processes which you would be using externally. आप अभी भी चैट जीपीटी के पास जाके कुछ ऐसा ही करोगे कि यार इसका बताना, इसको समरी बना, इसका ये कर, तो वो एक कुछ इस तरह का इंटरनल प्रोसेस है जो हमको इवेंचुअली बनाना पड़ेगा अपने लिए. Any other innovation thought that any one of us have over how we could be using AI? आप में से जिन्होंने इस्तेमाल किया है, कोई नया तरीका ढूंढा हो, कुछ और हो जो हम शेयर करके एक दूसरे को मदद कर सकें?
I think using is always based on the whatever prompt we are giving, sir.
एक मैंने prompt engineering पे क्लास लिया था, वेबिनार था. It was prompting for IBC. Do we have anyone who attended that class also?
No, sir. Possible.
Yes, sir. I have attended.
Okay. So that was how the prompting is to be done. But even that is a very thoughtful process. You just can't throw things at AI and says ये करिएगा, वो दे देगा, वो कुछ ना कुछ जवाब बना देगा, जैसे अभी बना के दिया, लेकिन वो फिर आप उसको यूज नहीं कर सकते. It's just a theoretical academic exercise.
सर ये
It's
जो
not.
ग्रुप बता रहे थे आप, एआई फॉर व्हाट्सएप, वो एआई फॉर आईपीस का, वो क्या कुछ
Sir, एक सेकंड रुकिए, मैं इसके
हाउ डू वी
अंदर
गेट
let me.
एडेड टू इट?
I think it's a link. I'll just try and give you a link. Give me a second. एक second का
इज इट सम सॉर्ट ऑफ अ चैनल, व्हाट्सएप चैनल और समथिंग?
English advance.
it's a group only. I'm trying to load it over here. एक second में लोड हो जाएगा तो आ
Because
जाएगा.
then there must
AI
be some,
for number 4. So I could I can.
because then there must be some admin who may need to add us and all, right?
No. It's an open group. You guys can. If I could. हाँ जी. एक सेकंड रुकिए. Default. How do I give you a chat? Okay. I open a chat. Got it. And in the chat.
Congratulations.
In the chat, let me see
Congratulations.
if I can. Okay. Just a minute. And what I do is I go here. Add, invite, send link via WhatsApp. Okay. And I'll do it to self notes, for example. And if I have loaded here, loading your chats. Chat in load हो रहा है इससे. It's taking a little while loading your chats. Otherwise मैं यहाँ लिख देता हूँ. It's I think AI for IP. इस तरह का है. आप चैट में देखिए AI for IP के IPs है. IPs with an S. So it's actually AI for IPs. अगर आप इसको ढूंढेंगे ना आपको मिल जाएगा. Otherwise I'll try and link it up.
ठीक है, व्हाट्सएप में जनरली ढूंढ सकते हैं इसको, ऐसा है क्या सर?
हाँ जी, क्या कह रहे हैं आप?
नहीं, ये कैसे ढूंढेंगे इसको अनलेस वी आर इन दैट
हाँ, unless you have a
कॉन्टैक्ट
link.
लिस्ट?
एक सेकंड रुकिए, मैं वही देख रहा हूँ. My WhatsApp is not loading on my computer. Okay. Here. Applications. Okay, I have it here. ठीक तो है. क्या कर रहा हूँ? Go here. The chats. I'm giving you a link now. Okay. I'm going to do copy. Okay. ये देखिए, इस लिंक पे आप इस लिंक पे कनेक्ट करिए.
कौन सा लिंक सर ये?
ये मैंने आपको इसमें दिया है अपना, इसमें चैट में. Is there a link that is showing on? Yeah, I can see Vijender sir joined. Yeah. So we do have people joining in. Great.
What is this group all about generally, or what?
Yes, I could join this.
तो जो डिस्कशन चल रही है AI की, वो आज के बाद we can continue here.
Okay.
And because There's going to be a 5-day certification course by ICSI. So I'm looking at creating the content and demo, etc. So all those who are really keen on, we are also trying to make software which all of us can use in order to hasten our processes. जैसे मैंने बताया communication, अगर हम chat WhatsApp पे communicate करके, we don't have to worry with emails and ये and वो WhatsApp पे. And WhatsApp is
Sir, how to join this group?
सर ये इस पे लिंक करिए, ये जो लिंक मैंने दिया है ब्लू
सर,
कलर
नहीं
का,
हो
इसको
रहा है।
क्लिक कर. बाकियों से हो रहा है.
वो
If
लिंक से
others
ज्वाइन
can-
हो रहा है आराम से।
So any other thing that comes to your mind which you'd like clarification on, if we could. Oh, Mamta ma'am is also here.
But
Good
it is
afternoon, ma'am.
better to IBBA has to provide software, no, sir, for IPs.
IBBI will not do it. IBBI will try not to get involved. They will only do the regulations now because Honorable Supreme Court has come up with regulations, and therefore it will sort of become mandatory because all of us are going to be using it anyway, and some kind of regulation has to be done. Otherwise, we will all be floundering and doing it our way, and then we would not know who to blame, etc. So there got to be some clarity, which is bound to come. IBBI software नहीं देगा जी, और IBBI regulations बना दे, वो ही बहुत है हमारे लिए. We'll be very very grateful. बाकी हाँ, there are things that can be done, that experiments are going on. People are using, as I said, WhatsApp and all. So वो जो है वो सॉफ्टवेयर हम आपस में एक दूसरे को I can share it once it's working. How many of us are using हम कौन सी टेक्नोलॉजीज अभी यूज कर रहे हैं, मतलब if somebody can if we could share, then I could tell you how best to use those, leverage whatever you're presently doing, if there is something more.
It's basically ChatGPT, Gemini, and Copilot.
तो सवाल क्या पूछते हैं हम ज्यादातर? Just general, right?
I mean,
हाँ.
vacation planning भी उसी पे करता हूँ. मतलब it's so I'm just giving you, it's varied, so all kinds of stuff, queries also, but it's more like Google, but more involved, more focused. या फिर सोसाइटी का काम होता है, उसमें भी कुछ
No, something that you're using it, which you actually use for your process.
for the process.
For your IBC process.
So
Insolvency
then
में आप
there it is more from a making a report on a particular company, let us say. What are the bring out the equity research reports, summarize those, compare them.
And where do you get the equity reports from?
No, ChatGPT itself will, download some of these, and then you say, okay, you compare and summarize these reports for me.
So you ask it to deep dive into a particular company, it goes,
Yeah.
whatever picks up from whatever, and it gives you whatever, and which is
Yeah.
generally correct, because जो report ला रहा है वो होती है, तो काफी हद तक उस level तक हो जाता है. So yeah. And then how do you translate it into your assignment application?
So ultimately, if you want to, pitch a particular EOI, then you can, you get a list of all the companies that you can market to.
So when you, if you were to
And
go online,
you use that also to design a criteria in terms of maximizing the, let's say, the client list, or let's say the marketing list, so that you don't get from plus minus 3 sigma is eliminated. Let's put it this way. More minus 3 sigma is eliminated.
So if you were to go online and say, this is the SIN number, get me a list of potential applicants, it generates a good list.
Yeah, it'll generate competitors also. And associate allied industries also.
And have you been able to leverage this list to reach out to the applicants successfully?
Yeah, I mean, in the sense, this is more a pointer to somebody who's an RP advisor. And basically, I will need to guide them saying that, you use this way, use this way, use this way. So, बच्चे करेंगे, लेकिन कैसे यूज करना है वो मेरे से आएगा.
So whatever is happening, we just have to see if it's the same AI, whether you use it from a tools perspective or you use it from the pure brain perspective. We just need to figure out how much more can we squeeze out of it. So if you give him better tools, and yeah, if you can give it better tools, it will give you a better report. Same thing, what you're doing is just how do you do it better.
No, but are there other tools other than what I mentioned in terms of ChatGPT, Gemini, and Copilot?
जो आप see, at the end, I repeat again, when you refer to all these things, they are models. So
Right.
they are brains that you're referring to, and they are generic brains. So so let me put it this way. So there is a brain which has been fed into everything. It's a very big brain, but it has a lot of things in it. Now, when you ask a question, it also has the ability to fetch whatever you're asking to the best of its ability. Then you've got specialized brains, small brains, but they have been fed exclusively with IBC information.
Right.
So
So
there's a
are there
big
any
brain
tools of such sort? Yeah, I mean, I was referring to that.
So
more specialized IBC.
generally everybody is referring to big brains, with big generic brains, which will give an answer, which may hallucinate. But then there are these specific small brains with specialized tools, the report of which is going to be exceptional and legally viable. You can put it, you can actually use it directly. In order to resolve better, faster, cheaper.
No, but which are these tools?
So there are these tools are not available in the market. You can't just say, see, 29A का कोई tool available नहीं है, जबकि चलो बना सकते हैं. Let's put it this way, मैंने एक tool बनाया और वो tool है, वो tool में you can go online and you can put your SIN number and it will give you a report in an hour or so. Now, you have an access to the tool because I have provided you one, and that tool is again leveraging a small brain. It's a small specialized brain with special tools. Well, when we say tools, we're referring to databases, but those databases also are not available. MCA का क्या database लोगे? उन्होंने तो सारा PDFs के अंदर स्कैन करके रख दिया सामान. अब उसमें से सामान निकालो और अपडेट करो. एक बंदा तो इसी काम के लिए लगा रहेगा. So they are not providing an API. You can't even go unless you go there and manually do it. वो हर एक के लिए बार-बार कैप्चा डाल के, मतलब It's not a. So other than that, these kind of services are there where you can go, pay money and get a report. Likewise, you go pay money and you also get a report, but this time the report is an agentic report. Naturally, there's got to be a difference. Why? Because you're calling yourself agents and it's supposed to be better in some manner. So you can go use them and download them, but it comes to you in a form of a report, which you have to then use it in your workflow. Your workflow will say कि वो रिपोर्ट आई है, उसके अंदर फ्लैग्स हैं आपके पास, फिर एक बंदा है वो रेड फ्लैग वालों को का से ईमेल भेज रहा है आरए को कि जी ये फ्लैग्स आए हैं, इनको बताओ ये क्या है इनके बारे में. Or he may just go online and start checking things out for himself if there is a direct link to that order or to that particular data point. पर वो ये वाला काम अब आपके सिस्टम, आपके वर्कफ्लो में चला गया. सो बाहर से एक रिपोर्ट आई और वर्कफ्लो में आ गई. हाउ efficiently that report is made, it depends upon how efficient this new AI agent tool, whatever is. Point number one. Point number two, what are you presently running your assignment as, and how can you make it more efficient within your system, right? Because it's all confidential and it's your system. Now there also there can be a way where we can put our heads together and identify that this is the best way forward internally. Otherwise, report तो आपको अच्छी मिल ही गई है. आप अच्छी रिपोर्ट से आगे क्या करना है वो अब आपका प्रोसेस के साथ रन करना है कि कोई और स्पेशलाइज्ड टूल जो आपके कंप्यूटर पे रन करेगा अब इंटरनली, which is inside your enterprise. So these are two very separate things, and that is why they say this is agentic process, this is a human in the loop process, and they have to be segregated, especially now that the Honorable Court is also saying the same. क्योंकि फिर साइन ऑफ तो आपको ही करना है, तो क्लेम्स हो या कुछ हो, आपको एक सबसे अच्छी जगह से आपको क्या मिल सकता है जहां पे आपका रिस्क मिनिमाइज हो when it comes to all these activities. See, at the end of the day, what are we doing? We want to run our processes without getting into trouble and charge a fee. So the trouble will come when we violate Supreme Court regulation or IBBI regulation. IBBI जो मांग रहा है वो उसके हिसाब से जो चाहिए, मतलब अगर वो स्पीड और डेप्थ मांग रहा है तो स्पीड और डेप्थ तो आपको एजेंट देगा. अब तो आप अगर मेरे ऑफिस में मैंने 10 बंदे रखे हैं और आपको बोल रहा हूँ कि मेरे को काम दो and you give me a 29 report, I still have a manual people working on me. They will make whatever mistakes that you would have made anyway with your had you run that process internally. That's of no use. You're just outsourcing your work. You're outsourcing your work without any value addition. So whether I'm keeping 10 employees or you keeping 10 employees, it's irrelevant. The relevant is how can I do a job better than you can, and something that you can't on your own. So, and then also assuming that the risk is minimal because the flagging is better, then once it comes in your system, then you could be running a project management kind of a tool where you have a Kanban and you're pulling records and you're saying kya ho gaya, kya reh gaya. And those systems are all AI enabled now, which essentially what it does is, for example, जैसे मैं बता रहा था WhatsApp, you just do a WhatsApp complaint claim management. You get all your claimants, and we have a confirmation of who they are, etc., etc. So there's no and plus whatever documents that you get. So even today, if I were to load documents on WhatsApp, you could have the Meta AI, which is an AI thing running on the group, and you say, "Iska summary bana de." So technically, it will read all the documents on that group, which is 1-to-1, IP and a claimant, and then it will summarize it for you. But then I ask myself a question again, what do we do with that summary? It has to come up with a flag saying claim में उसने 100 रुपए लिखा है पर document में 50 रुपए दिख रहा है, तो फिर वो आपको somehow it has to find. Now these things are very easy to say, but you need a full-fledged system within your organization which will flag your internal things also very well. And again, you minimize the risk from outside because of what the agents are doing outside, and you also try and minimize your risk inside because what the agents are going to be doing inside your process, inside your workflow. So now by doing both these things, you will hopefully minimize, of course, keeping you'll have a set of people who will verify what the flag is about, and probably you will have one final look before you sign it off. But what are we doing? We are essentially saying, if it's essentially we are making the process more efficient and foolproof. So for example, अब हम मार्केटिंग का एजेंट लेते हैं. मार्केटिंग का एजेंट क्या करता है? वो कहता है अच्छा सिन नंबर देता है. Then just like what ChatGPT does, but ChatGPT is doing a very generic thing. It's doing whatever it's in the memory vis-a-vis the data available on the internet. It does a good job. But now you say कि you make me an email which is customized for each applicant separately. So it's supposed to say CD ka mere ko ye information. Now here there's nothing confidential right now. We are just talking whatever is available on the net. It picks up the information. It already has the information of the CD. It picks up the information of RA, writes a proper letter saying that, oh, you have got this, you may be requiring that, and this is the best match for you. And if you do this, you will be vertical and horizontal integration, this, that, and it'll try and upsell. But it has to do that for all the 5,000 applicants that it would identify. ChatGPT will do only what, 5, 10, 15, unless you keep telling him orla, wo le aayega thoda thoda. But it is, how do we find the right this thing? You have to give him a criteria saying that every SIN number has a state code and a business service code, and based on that, identify all the similar services providers, businesses in that particular state within this particular year. Or it can go deep since it can go and identify capitalization, kam se kam itni ho, aise karke, you can get him to generate a nice big report, a list. And then not only that, then you say कि इसकी चिट्ठियां बना सबकी और फिर भेज. And then you can go further. The reply आएगा तो उसको भी summarize कर और उसका भी कर. It can go on and on. But you see, if you really want to do, depends upon what level of how deep do we want to go. And are you being compensated for all this depth that you can now go to? Because if we are going to pick up an assignment for $25,000, you're obviously not wanting to do all these things. Everyone has to appreciate. Now look at it from, again, to the banks, early warning systems. So the CIIRP, which is supposed to come, a lot of things can be done with it. I mean, to begin with, all banks should ask for XBRLs on a monthly basis of all the clients that they have given loan to. And we don't need a verified XBRL, just tally में से जो भी आता तू दे दे. That's good enough for us, right? We don't need to verify it and verify it against the what's it called? Taxonomy and AI taxonomies, etc. We don't need all that. We just need basics के हमें पता चले. Then Or we can go a step further and say, all right, you've got instead of using a tally, use the cloud tally, and let me link into it. So my system is continuously monitoring what is happening inside your company. The moment it identifies something, it will red flag it and start firing a letter saying this, that. So it's really, if you really think out of the box, there are a lot of things which need to be done, which are not being done. Probably people are not thinking it through, but it's again a matter of time. So you've got agents. That's why they say they're going to be agents everywhere. And they'll be doing these small specialized tasks and then hand over the next step to the bankers, to the professionals, whatever. So how many of us have joined the group? Because I'll be sharing certain things here. Let's hope that. Any other question that comes to your mind?
I joined the group by clicking on the link, sir. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Very good. So Mamta ma'am, is this you? In the sense, I'd like to hear from you.
Only time is over, sir. 30 minutes.
I know. So should we call it a day? I think we should. And we look forward to seeing all of you on the certificate program. Which
Sir, really thankful to you, sir. It's a very useful session, sir.
Yeah, it is not one of those standard this thing. It is like, let's open ourselves up. Let's see what is happening, because a lot of things are happening. So I'm also thankful for the opportunity.
Thank you.
राइट जी, फिर चलते हैं. तो मैम आप या
Thank you, Atul.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, sir, for such a wonderful and interactive session.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Hope to have more sessions.
Yeah, we look forward. Thank you. Bye-bye.